Terry Bradshaw, quarterback, Pittsburgh Steelers, injured October 28, 1973, shoulder separation. Terry Hanratty, backup man from Notre Dame, number 5, injured just a week ago. Bad wrist, can't play tonight. Bradshaw could if utterly needed, but hasn't worked for a long time. Thus, this young man, number 17, Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam from Tennessee State, black quarterback. Look at him, in there till the last possible moment. Then the quick release, hitting Ron Shanklin. Joe Gilliam getting his shot in the wake of all the talk through all of the years about black quarterbacks in the National Football League. A confident young man, a superb athlete, but millions watching tonight. I asked him about the pressures. Do you feel an almost overwhelming pressure? Do you think if you do that it will affect your performance adversely tonight?
Well, you know, I think pressure is a state of mind, and a person can either let it work against him or work for him. You know, there's enough rigmarole and razzmatazz with the press and the news media and the people, and we kind of let them take care of all the pressure because we got other things to think about.
15 seconds there.
Stand by all cameras, stand by videotape, stand by slow-mo.
Stand by to roll videotape in 5.
And roll tape. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
From the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, where they like to brag about their weather, and well, they should. They have a perfect night for football. And it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Miami Dolphins. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Gillette, makers of the Gillette Track 2 two-bladed shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave. And by Ford and your Ford dealers, who invite you to take a close look at the 1974 Ford cars and trucks. The closer you look, the better we look.
Well, the scene said, as Frank said, the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, a wildly enthusiastic crowd, a game that needs absolutely no buildup. The Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins with another great team against the Pittsburgh Steelers with a powerhouse team that must now fight for its playoff life. Just take a look at the standings in the Central Division of the AFC. Pittsburgh at 8-3. Over Cleveland at 7-3-2, and Cincinnati in the wake of its stunning upset of Minnesota at 8-4. And by the way, under the new system of counting ties as a half win and a half loss, Cincinnati and Cleveland are tied. Thus, Pittsburgh, in order to avoid a three-way tie, must beat Miami tonight. But what a job. The Dolphins, even though they clinched in their division a few weeks ago, are a team of irrepressible pride and self-respect. Witness the way they beat Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, when Dallas desperately needed a victory and Miami didn't. Yet Miami held together because of the brilliant leadership most think of that man, Coach Don Shula, who's produced the extraordinary Miami record. But I think we should go back to the Steelers and to tell you about Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam, who figures so prominently tonight, and the rest of the Steelers. Who else but my colleague Dandy Don Meredith, now absent of mustache, and we're happy to see that.
Oh, well, tell it like it is, Howard. Tell it like it is. Jefferson Street Joe. Where's number 17? That it can't be all bad. From Nashville, Tennessee, still on the plus side. Went to Pearl High School. That's all right, too. The thing I like about him is, as you said in that opening statement, you know, pressure is a state of mind, and he's got a good state of mind right now. He thinks he can do it, and I like folks that way. In Pittsburgh, they've been hollering defense, defense for years, and they should. Greenwood, Green, Holmes, and White. That's the front four. Those guys are really good. They don't stop them running. Those folks in the back pick them off. They've picked off 28 interceptions this year, and that's why they're here tonight. It was my preseason pick for the AFC to be in that Super Bowl, as you say. Now, we're talking about the Super Bowl champions, and that's the Miami Dolphins, and who knows more about them? Well, maybe somebody does, but nobody in the booth than Frank Gifford. Frank, would you tell us about him?
You look funny.
I know. I am funny.
The Miami Dolphins, Howard mentioned that they have a lot of pride. They beat Dallas Thanksgiving Day. It didn't matter. They had clinched their division already the week before. A lot of personal things going, too, for these Miami Dolphins. You'd like to see Mercury Morris get his second 1,000-yard year. Well, Larry Zonka would like to have his, too, and they're close. They can possibly do it. They can also tie an NFL record, a two-season record for wins, regular season wins, if they win tonight, tying the Oakland Raiders of 1967-68. We'll be back with the kickoff, the Dolphins versus the Steelers, after this.
You've been hopping these mountains for 3 days straight, but flying the bush was your choice. You know you only go around once, so you take your gusto where you find it. In your living, in your beer.
Come around, take the best that life's given. Come around, taste the gusto of Schlitz.
Injector shavers, the best shave of your life is just ahead. Introducing Track 2 twin injector blades. Twin blades that fit your injector razor. Now you can get twin blade closeness and safety. As the first edge shaves, it lifts the whisker so the second edge can shave it again. With closeness and safety never possible from injector shaving until Track 2 twin injector blades. New from Gillette. For the best injector shave of your life.
Contractor Tom Spencer, Wethead. Contractor Tom Spencer, the dry look. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, Wethead. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, the dry look. Importer Joe McDonald, Wethead. Importer Joe McDonald, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette. #1 aerosol hair control. Adjustable valve, sprays as light as you like. Find out how much better it can make you look. The difference will surprise you.
Mayor Henry Clifford, Wethead. Mayor Henry Clifford, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette.
And at this moment in the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida, the invocation is being presented.
And so they do the same tonight. Protect the members of both teams from serious injuries and grant that relying on thy will, whether they win or lose, genuine sportsmanship will prevail. Amen.
The invocation presented by Archbishop Pullman Carroll, the Archdiocese of Miami. And now, for our national anthem, one of the most lovely little gals you'll ever see, Miss Loretta Lynn.
Would you believe Lynn Anderson?
Would you believe Lynn Anderson?
Light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight and the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Anderson, and, well, I hope she forgives me. I did a ski show with her last year. Lovely lady. You don't have to be country and western to appreciate Lynn Anderson. And we do have a football game tonight, a critical game, as we mentioned at the top of the show, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for these fellas right here, the Miami Dolphins, well, it's a chance, as I said, to win their 25th regular season game within 2 years. Here's that incredible record. They clinched their division, the AFC Eastern Division, 2 weeks ago. Everyone thought they might have a little letdown. If you saw the game Thanksgiving Day against the Dallas Cowboys, you realize there was no letdown. They play out of a lot of pride, and they play because of this man in the middle, Don Shula, who has the best one-loss record of all coaches over the past 10 years. Indeed, he won his 100th game within 10 years. He did that last year. And he is some kind of a football coach. In 11 years, 4 times Coach of the Year. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won the toss. They naturally have elected to receive. Number 35 on your left is Steve Davis, second-year man. And Preston Pearson, the former Baltimore Colt that played so well in 1968 that he led the National Football League in kickoff returns. But Garo Yepremian gets things underway from the Orange Bowl in Miami. And the little man really puts the foot to it, in and out of the end zone. It'll be out to the 20, Pittsburgh with their first possession. As Howard said, Joe Gilliam, the second-year man out of Tennessee State, will be making his first start at quarterback. He's got a lot of poise. He has a lot of cool. He has some fine receivers, too. Ron Shanklin will be his one flanker, number 25. His other flanker will be either Frank Lewis or Barry Pearson. Number 43, Frank Lewis, now will start. His setbacks, Preston Pearson, who's having a super year. He probably has made the difference for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have had a lot of injuries. And then, of course, there's Franco Harris. He won't get his 1,000 yards this year as he did last year, but he's in the lineup again and healthy. From their 20, the Steelers move, 1st and 10. Franco Harris moves over the left side, runs into the right side of the defensive front four of the Miami Dolphins, which will consist tonight of Bill Stanfield, number 84. Number 72 is Bob Heinz. He's the right defensive tackle. Manny Fernandez, the left defensive tackle, 75. Vern Den Herder, the left defensive end. He's number 83. In the middle, Nick Bonacani in his 12th year. The outside linebackers, 59, Doug Swift, 57, Mike Cola, and the cornerbacks, 45, Curtis Johnson, 26, Lloyd Munford. Franco Harris got a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. The ball at the 22. The tight end, bottom of your screen, midway in, 89, John McMakin. Gilliam on his first pass. Throwing short to Ron Shanklin, number 25, out to the right flat.
I think that play reflected, that pass reflected the understandable nervousness of Gilliam in the early going. The key thing, I think, Frank, and I think Danny will agree with me, as the game progresses to watch about Gilliam, is the way he hangs in there against the rush till the last possible second. Only then does the great quick release come as he spots his receiver. Most young quarterbacks, even with a good release, throw too soon. Gilliam doesn't.
And we should see that rush right now. The Miami Dolphins that have got to the quarterback 39 times this year on 3rd down and 8. Gilliam back. Good protection. Oh, and it's picked off. Anderson. Dick Anderson. Dick Anderson, touchdown. And did he read that beautifully?
Yeah.
And Franco Harris is shaken up at the goal line. Earlier in the year, Franco Harris had a bad knee, but there's Dick Anderson. What a great player he is.
He's done that so many times before, Dick Anderson. An opportunistic player who reads so superbly well. He did it to Baltimore in a playoff game a couple of years ago. He's an all-pro, and he reflects the beauty of this Miami defensive unit.
Makes all the difference in the world when you can deal from confidence, and that's what the Dolphins are dealing from. They read an pass play very obviously, and Anderson was sitting back hoping he was going to throw it to his man. He timed it just right, as both you guys have pointed out.
Garo Yepremian on for the conversion. If he makes this 1 point, he will be tied with Roy Gerella for scoring in the AFC. Garo Yepremian converting, getting his 89th point. And the man he is dueling with is also here tonight, Roy Gerella of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Little Garo Yepremian.
We didn't have to wait long for some action, did we?
Not when you have the Miami Dolphins. There aren't words to describe this team, really, Don, and you know it as well as anybody.
I know this. If there's words to describe them, you're going to find them. Let's look at it again. Here's this interception. He had good protection. He just threw that thing a little bit behind the receiver. You saw him slow down there. Anderson was coming in from his strong safety position, picked it off as the tight end is trying to hit. Here's the kickoff.
Vermian again rips it deep into the end zone. And Preston Pearson has second thoughts. He stays in the end zone. Pittsburgh will have their second opportunity. 13:49 remaining in the first quarter, and the Dolphins are out in front 7-0. And Don, you said something I think so important. The Dolphins are playing it so loose. It makes all the difference in the world. Dick Anderson, well, they clinched their division. He could take that dive for it.
Yeah, the first pass that Gilliam threw, Frank, was a square out. And from a quarterback standpoint, you really want that first one to be a completion, and especially in his position. So he tried to get it. He hurried it, missed that square out. So that didn't help. Then he tried it again. It was intercepted. Let's see what he does. He's got it. If he just settled down, go back to your game plan now, Jefferson Street.
All right, Franco Harris apparently all right as the flag goes down. Harris ripped for 7 yards. Stopped there by Bonacani.
I have criticized coaches calling plays, and the reason I have is I feel that quarterback needs to kind of get a feel of the game. I don't think there's any argument in the fact that the coaches, people in the press box can get different views, can send in different kind of plays to take advantage of it. When you got a young quarterback like Gilliam out here, now Gilliam is calling his plays. This is where I think a young quarterback can get a lot of help from the bench, from the press box, primarily to determine what these defensive guys are doing. Are they doing what we think they are, Joe? Now, you just hang in there, man. Don't worry about it.
5-yard penalty assessed. Backfield in motion. It'll be first down and 15. Miami slips into their 53 defense. That means Bob Matheson comes in, giving them 4 linebackers: Matheson, Colin, Bonacani, and Doug Swift. The draw play. Franco Harris battles back to the original line of scrimmage, picks up a couple more. It'll be second down and 8. Stopped there by Vern Denherter and Bill Stanfield, number 84.
It was a good call, Frank. They got a 5-yard penalty, put it at first and 15. He needed to get back in some sort of position, again, to get back into the rhythm of the plays he's going to call. He's now second down and about 8, so you look at it, well, on first down, I gained 2 yards, so didn't really lose that much. Good call.
All right, Shanklin goes out to the right. He'll be picked up out there by Lloyd Mumford, who has replaced the injured Tim Foley in the secondary. The only difference from the team that you saw in the Super Bowl of last year. And, of course, Mumford was in that. Foley was also hurt for the Super Bowl. On second down and 8. Lots of time, and it's deflected. Matheson coming on the blitz as he does so often, and Denherter were both in there. So the youngster out of Tennessee State, where he had such a sensational career, is feeling the pressure from this great Miami defense.
That was a good defensive play there, Frank. You saw they did have a good pocket, but then Vern Denherter played off his block real well, got back as far as he could, good penetration, saw the ball hadn't been released, and just jumped up and knocked it down. He's got good height, too.
Chuck Noll on the sidelines in his 4th year with the Steelers, looking on as Gilliam considers a third down along 7. A lot of pressure this time. He's going deep for Shanklin, and Shanklin drawing double coverage. Mumford was back there. Jake Scott from his free safety, number 13, also in there to help. Give us a chance to tell you this telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Dolphins Football Club. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited.
That pass was 63 yards in the air and hit him right in the numbers.
Yep, good throw. Bobby Walden kicking to Dick Anderson and Jake Scott. This is Jake Scott. Jake Scott getting back to the 40, pounded down at the 39. 37-yard punt, 6-yard return. So Miami has a 7-0 lead, 12:33 remaining in the first quarter.
Move it. I'm Ira Parsegian. By getting a close-up look at the players in action, I really get to know them. Now I'm going to show you how to look close at a station wagon, the new Ford LTD Country Squire for 1974. The idea is to get your hands on it. Try things out, like Ford's 3-way door gate. It opens like a tailgate, opens like a door, with a window up. Or with the window down. Try out the spare tire extractor, and these steel-belted radials are standard. And look, you can get dual-facing rear seats, even a game table for the kids. And get behind the wheel to really feel its luxury and comfort. Ford Country Squire. It gives you the wagon features that make Ford the wagon master. See it at your Ford dealers.
Ford. The closer you look, the better we look.
Dick Anderson, who put the Miami Dolphins out in front, early going here, 23-yard interception. And he is a fine football player. What he's meant to this defensive secondary of the Dolphins. Now you look at the offensive unit. Bob Gracie is the director. Larry Zonka, 39. Murphy Morris on the setbacks, 22. Both having great years. Marlon Briscoe, 86, one wide receiver. Paul Warfield, the other 42. Here's Briscoe coming towards you in motion. This is Zonka. And Zonka is picked off there by the shooting middle linebacker, Henry Davis. A defensive front four for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dwight White, number 78. Ernie Holmes, number 63. Number 75 is Joe Green. Number 68 is L.C. Greenwood. Davis in the middle, number 53. The outside linebackers, 59. Jack Ham, 34. The veteran Andy Russell. Zonka didn't appear like he picked up anything. He got 2. A second down and 8. Mercury Morris. Bob Kutchenberg with the block out front, and Morris follows the ball.
Well, that's something you don't see too often. Frankie had a nice gain. He was trying to switch arms with that ball and just dropped it.
We've seen a lot of that this year. We've seen guys drop the ball when nobody was around them. Look at it again.
Well, look here. He just stumbled, looked like, and the ball just popped out. I don't think anybody hit him. I think he stumbled on his own feet.
And Ratty did that in the game against Washington that we had on Monday night. Emerson Boozer of the Jets did it in one game this year. I think it was against Buffalo. We've seen a lot of that this year. Very strange.
Lost about a half a yard. It'll be third down. Call it a long 8. Into the backfield now. Jim Kick, number 21. Kick, a fine receiver, replaces Zonka. Crazy putting both backs out. They check for linebackers, and it doesn't matter.
Mean Joe Green is
number 75, and he's in there along with Dwight White.
He did his thing. That's what's going to have to hold Pittsburgh in there tonight. That defense, until Gilliam, despite his protestations and the tease of the show about pressure being something that occupies the media but not the player, until Jefferson Street Joe acquires some confidence.
All right, and that'll bring on Larry Seipel. Having a good year, his best ever, averaging a little over 43 yards a punt. Deep for the Steelers is Glenn Edwards and number 41, Dennis Meyer. Seipel with a good kick. This is Edwards. Oh, wow, and he was nailed. Yeah. Charlie Babb getting down there to make the stop. 50-yard kick, 5-yard return. This Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports, U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Motorcycle Championship from Carlsbad, California. International Figure Skating from Calgary, Canada. World Barrel Jumping Championship from Grosinger, New York. 5 Eastern and Pacific, 4 Central Time over most of these ABC stations.
I've always thought barrel jumping was Dandy's best sport.
Barrel jumping? From the 15, the Steelers will try and get things started. Gilliam handing off to Preston Pearson. Out in front, Davis. Pearson moves out to about the 14-yard line. Vern Den Herner moving over there along with Lloyd Mumford to make the stop. Preston Pearson has really kind of saved the Steelers this year. They've had injuries both to Johnny Fuqua, who is able to play. He cracked his collarbone 5 weeks ago, but Pearson stepped in. Franco Harris was hurt early in the year, and again it was Pearson having his best year ever. 452 yards coming into tonight. The ball is at the 17. It's second down, 8 yards to go. 11:07 remaining in the first quarter. The Steelers trail 7-0. Franco Harris just getting back to the line of scrimmage. Getting in there quickly was number 83, Vern Den Herder.
Old Manny Fernandez is in there too.
Oh,
Frank.
boy.
These guys are really playing well. There's the Zonk over there on the side, taking it kind of easy. Right now, this defensive unit of the Dolphins, look, they're really...
Oh, they're too much, Don.
Well,
they're too much.
They're keyed up.
That defensive line is presumably undersized. Not the Miami offensive line, but the defensive line. Their quickness, their coordination, their working together is simply extraordinary.
You saw 53. That means the Dolphins have their 53 defense in. Bob Matheson in. 3rd down and 8. Gilliam with time to throw. In and out of the hands of one Pittsburgh Steeler and picked off by Curtis Johnson. John McMakin takes Curtis Johnson out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Another big break for these Dolphins.
That's another evidence of these Dolphins. I'm not sure, Frank, that I'd call it a break. On Thanksgiving Day, for instance, against the Cowboys, a ball went through a Dallas receiver's hands. Jake Scott was there to pick it off and set the Dolphins up for their first drive to a touchdown. They are where the ball is at. Their defensive secondary is extraordinary, and they're doing it without Tim Foley, number 25 from Purdue, who's a great hitter. His substitute, Mumford, can do the job.
All right, the ball is placed at the 34. Zonka back in, number 39. Morris now the bottom of your screen in the wingback position. And jumping offside was number 68, L.C. Greenwood. Let's take another look at that interception, and this is the 14th, 15th interception now for the Dolphins.
Well, again, he had plenty of time. He really rifled that ball, possibly too hard even, to John McMakin, tight end. It went off of his hands, bounced up, and as Howard said something, the fact that being at the right place at the right time is one of the things the Miami defense has working for them, and they were sure there that time. You know what they're calling that against the Dolphins? Was that an offensive... or was it delay of the game? Was it offsides or delay of the game?
The call was offsides against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that.
We are told that Jim Mandich was offsides. That probably drew L.C. Greenwood off, who plays right in front of Mandich. In any event, it's 1st and 15. The ball at the 40 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Morris, Bob Kuchenberg, 67 with a great block out in front of Morris. Andy Russell takes Morris out of bounds at the 18. But you saw one of the 2 great guards of this Dolphin unit, Bob Kuchenberg, number 67. The other, of course, Larry Little, 66.
Can't draw that one up much better than it was executed. Watch them, the 2 guards that Frank mentioned, especially Kuchenberg. He's out in front of that thing. Good block on the right side by Norm Evans, number 73, at right tackle. Great hole out there.
Curtis Johnson, the man who came up with the Dolphins' 15th interception of the year.
By the way, he rooms with Tim Foley, Curtis Johnson. The 2 are very close.
Morris moves it all the way down to the 20, a 20-yard pickup, 1st and 10, and Zonka is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Met there hard by number 59, Jack Ham.
You're absolutely right on that earlier playback on the work that Kuchenberg did. His development, of course, has been a major story. Everybody knew about Larry Little, but Kuchenberg has become a great player. But it's nice to have a back like Mercury Morris, who can accelerate that way through a hole, isn't it, Dandy?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
2nd down and 10. Wide receiver Paul Warfield comes out to the left. Only caught 21 passes this year, but every 3rd one was a touchdown. Now Briscoe comes towards you in motion. Zonka gets the call, and Zonka is nailed there by the middle linebacker, Henry Davis, who stepped through the hole of the pulling guard, Bob Kuchenberg.
Yeah, they read that one pretty well that time. This defense has done a terrific job. Last year, the defense, there you got Bonacani on defense for the Dolphins, but that Pittsburgh defense, I think, was primarily responsible for their success last year, because they didn't really give anybody any breathing room. They were on them all the time.
Hard on 3rd down and 10. James Thomas comes into the lineup for the Steelers. They go into their prevent defense, anticipating the pass from Gracie. Mandich is in, number 88, the tight end. Briscoe, top of your screen. Warfield, the bottom. Gracie going out to Jim Kick. In and out of the hands. And that should produce Garo Yepremian.
James Thomas was the guy that was on him that time. Frank, he was right there with him. You says they're prevent defense. It was, you see, Kick coming out of the backfield. Everybody pretty well figured it was going to be a pass. He sent both backs out, trying to hit Kick out in the flat. He hit him, but so did Thomas.
Fine defensive play by Thomas. Garo Yepremian to hold. And, well, the old man of the game, Earl Morrill, to do the holding. But with this kick, Yepremian can take over the scoring lead in the AFC. From 28 yards out, Garo Yepremian hits the Miami Dolphins. With 8:34 remaining in the first quarter, lead the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-0, and they're off and cruising as they have so many times this year. We'll be back.
When you save your money at a savings and loan, your money does more than just grow. A savings and loan lends out money for homes, and that helps communities grow. We're doing a lot for America, and we want to do more.
Once I hurt my knee trying to make a tackle that a lot of people thought I shouldn't have been trying to make. Well, let me tell you, if you put that uniform on, you're supposed to be a football player, and you've got to be ready to go all the way. That's just the way I am. I guess that's why I use Brute. I like the smell. I like the way it works, the way it lasts.
Brute by Fabergé. After the game, after anything, Brute goes all the way.
If you're not going to go all the way, man, I mean, why go at all?
On your left, Steve Davis, the only player, well, the first player ever drafted out of Delaware State, and of course Preston Pearson on your right. They await the kick of this man, Garo Yepremian, who just took over the scoring lead in the AFC. This will be Pearson at his own 4. And Pearson gets out to the 18-yard line, hit there by Don Nottingham. Preston Pearson, who played with the Baltimore Colts when Chuck Noll was there. Chuck Noll recognized talent, brought him to Pittsburgh in 1969.
Shula brought Nottingham with him, I guess. Well, he was at Baltimore anyway. I don't know whether he was there when Shula was there.
No, he wasn't.
Well, it could have been a good story if he had have been.
Would have been. Klosterman drafted him. Klosterman.
Joe Gilliam, just short of the 20-yard line. The Steelers will try again. They trail at 10-0. This is Pearson, hit first by Vern Den-Herder. And then, so typical of the Miami defensive unit, they just fold in. Face of a young man really on a spot. Terry Hanratty has a very severely sprained wrist. Terry Bradshaw quite possibly could play, but he is 5 weeks off a shoulder separation. So on the spot tonight, Joe Gilliam. And of course, the big thing, the race in the Central Division of the American Football Conference. The Steelers, could they win tonight, would have a full game lead over Cincinnati and Cleveland. If they don't, they drop into a 3-way tie. Second down along 6. The ball at the 23. Barry Pearson, top of your screen. Shank from the bottom. This is Pearson. Bruce Van Dyke out in front. He's very close to the first down. Nick Bonacani moving over from his middle linebacker spot to make the stop.
Going to be interesting to watch the Steelers on this series of downs and subsequent ones to see how they hold together in the face of the 2 quick interceptions, the 2 quick capitalizations by the Dolphins for their current 10-0 lead. If Noll doesn't panic and seek to put in Bradshaw, if he holds together, and I'm sure he will, I think this team will hold together. Give us a good football game.
Half a yard short are the Steelers. Their 4th time they've had the football. They still have yet to make their first down. Up against the AFC's second leading defensive unit, and that defensive unit stopped Franco Harris.
They are tough.
They are too much.
They are tough tonight in particular.
Nick Bonacani.
Oh, boy. All the years, all the adversities Bonacani suffered. Look at those Miami fans go crazy over that Miami defense, and well they might. Oh, what a job Don Shula has done.
Bobby Walden. And a beautiful kick by Walden, moving Jake Scott all the way back to his 17-yard line. Scott turns the corner.
They seem to be doing everything well tonight.
They do it well every game, day or night. let's face it, this is a great football team, period.
6:06 remaining in the first quarter. The Dolphins ahead 10-0.
The Dalton Trail in the dead of winter. On this road, you better ride the right kind of snow tire. One slip can leave you buried in a 10-foot snowbank, hours from help. We're driving the treacherous Dalton Trail on Sears steel-belted radial snow tires. Tires made to handle the steep climbs and slippery curves. And when you've got to stop, that's when you really appreciate this tire. The way it digs into deep snow, you can feel it work, feel the positive traction. It's the best performing snow tire we've ever offered. From the radial design and 2 tough steel belts to a unique multi-angled tread pattern with more than 2,000 gripping edges. For full tread width traction when winter's at its worst. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Try it on your own Dalton Trail. Radial design, 2 steel belts, and a deep biting tread. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Only at Sears.
On the left, the Pittsburgh defensive unit. They're a good defensive unit, too. They're ranked 5th in the AFC, but they lead the whole deal in interceptions. They've had 28 over the year. We'll talk more about that later as the Dolphins now take over 1st and 10. They move now from their own 38. Fine punt return by Jake Scott. Zonka gets the call, tries the right side. No opening, finds his own. He gets about 7 out to the 43. Henry Davis there to make the stop, getting a little help from number 78, Dwight White.
Funny thing about this Miami team, Don, even though they're unbeaten last year, created the great record, even though they've lost only 1 this year, there are still people outside of Miami who say other teams have better talent. How do they do it? We'll get to that later. You explain.
Put me on the spot, but I'll try.
2nd down, a long 6, the ball at the 43.5-yard mark for the Dolphins. Breezy, inside handoff, Mercury Morris. He gets about 2. He moves over the 45 to the 46. The thing about this Pittsburgh defensive unit, they call Joe Green mean. Let's take a look at him when they really get with it. They say Dwight White is even meaner than Joe Green. Well, they're a well-coordinated unit, too, Howard. You spoke of the Dolphins being well-coordinated. Chuck Noll, who learned really a lot of his football under the Dolphins coach, Don Shula, is their coach.
Exactly so.
You see so much of the same. 3rd down, along 2. The ball at the 46-yard line of the Dolphins. They have a 10-0 lead. 4:48 remaining in the first quarter. Greasy looking for Warfield, and Mel Blount gave Warfield more room than you can afford to give an outside receiver, and I don't blame him.
Well, they sure don't like to see him go deep.
Ah, there he is with those eyes. You know, this fellow was trying to get his weight up to 230. Manny Fernandez at Biscayne College during the training period, up to 230.
What does he weigh right now?
I don't think he weighs 230. The guy is incredibly strong, as you know, and incredibly quick. But that's what I meant when I said the Miami defensive line seems undersized to some.
Warfield got the 1st down at the 44 of the Steelers, a 10-yard gain. The big man to the outside, Zonka. And moving over there quickly was George Webster. Who's in now as a 1 linebacker for the Steelers. George Webster, one of the great players in the history of the AFL.
Don, would you tell the folks what Harry Gardner, who used to be a trainer with Dallas and is now the Miami trainer, told you about these Dolphins?
Larry just said that, well, Larry might not want me to say this, but I guess I'll apologize to him. He just was comparing them with Dallas's overall talent, and he says they're not nearly as good as Dallas, man for man. These guys just really have a thing where they play real well together. And I think that, in a way, answers what you're talking about. They have a lot of pride in what they do.
This is 2nd down and 8, and Mercury Morris got about half of it. There's Mercury Morris, 4 yards, coming up quickly, number 48, John Rouser.
Mercury Morris from West Texas State, Dwight White from East Texas State, and Joe Green from North Texas State. There's L.C. Greenwood, Frank, and Ernie Holmes in there, too. That's the front 4.
Good unit. Taken in colder days in Pittsburgh, playing on a beautiful night in Miami. 3rd down and 4 now for the Dolphins. The ball at the 38.5-yard mark of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So far, 2 interceptions. The key to the Dolphins' 10-0 lead. Dick Anderson took one in for a touchdown. Garo Yepremian hit on a 28-yard field goal. Crazy just getting it off to Mandich. Incomplete. Jim Mandich, who replaced the injured Marv Fleming, who pulled a thigh muscle earlier. But Greasy got a lot of pressure from Dwight White, and he just did release it.
Threw a good pass.
He did. Mandich had him beat there for a while. It looked like the ball hung a little bit, Howard. It didn't get there quite as quickly as Bob would have liked for it to, because Mandich had 2 or 3 steps on it. The ball hung a little bit up in the air.
One of the interesting things about the Dolphins is, despite that coordinate play, they do have some malcontents. Mandich is one. He's playing out his option. Feels he should be playing regularly instead of Fleming, but he does his job, and that's Shula.
From the 46-yard line, Garo Yepremian. Well, it's all working for the Dolphins tonight. Yepremian gets his second field goal of the night. Earlier, he hit from 28 yards out, and now from 46. What a weapon this little man has been. Began his career 66 with Detroit. Missed a couple of years. 68 and 69 was out of football, and Don Shula said, come play with us. And Don Shula will never rue that day. The little tie maker.
He was kicking them from 60 yards out before this game started, Frank. We were watching him. He was just taking a couple of steps and warm-ups. And as you mentioned, for, a little fella, man, he's got a strong leg, because that ball was really going in there.
Unbelievable. And he'd sell ties to Dandy and me in between each kick.
He's not going to sell any of them to me. I'm not going to buy them.
Set to kick off to Preston Pearson and Steve Davis. And again, he roots one deep into the end zone, and the Steelers are forced to settle again for the touchback. And what a weapon that is when you can prevent the run back of the kickoff, as we have watched Garo Yepremian 3 times tonight.
The Steelers are looking for a first down. They got to get past the 30.
They have not yet had a first down. They've had 2 pass interceptions. Miami has done absolutely nothing wrong. We still have 2:51 left in the first quarter in a game completely dominated by the Super Bowl champions thus far.
And primarily on defense as the Steelers start again, as they have. You've watched them 3 times tonight. It's the 4th time they have started play from their own 20. Good fake by Gilliam. And McMakin drops the ball. Good pass.
Yeah. Hate to say things like that, but man, when you get them going in one direction, it really is hard to get them turned around. They had a good play fake. You'll watch an I formation. He's going to fake to Franco Harris. Comes off as Pearson comes in there. He's got Mandich open right down the middle. Good break. Hit him right where he's supposed to. Never broke stride, but he dropped it. I mean, McMakin, the other cat's on the other team.
On the sidelines, Terry Hanratty. You can just see the back of his head with the Steeler jacket. Now, there's Terry Hanratty. You see the wrist bandage. You saw Bradshaw also, the back of his head. 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 20. Gilliam now 0 for 6 tonight. 2 interceptions. Draw play goes to Pearson, and Pearson nailed there. Stepping across, number 59, Doug Swift. Here's a young man.
There he is with the bubble gum.
He got his 1,000 last year. He'd like to have another one this year. He came into tonight's game in good shape with 828 yards and has had a couple of spectacular runs this evening, as Mercury Morris. Carried it 4 times, gained 25 yards. But right now, the man in trouble, as he has been throughout the entire first quarter, this man, Joe Gilliam. 3rd down and 10. Unloads it, picks off Dick Anderson.
Well, that could spell the difference. They may have to bring Bradshaw in now, but I think this guy, he's going all the way.
Uh-oh. Anderson, who returned one earlier for a touchdown, returns this one 32 yards to the 2.5-yard line.
There's a flag down, Frank. I don't know what it means.
Flag is down.
Probably against the Steelers.
Where Anderson was running, I would have to suspect it would probably have to be a clipping call, but we'll wait and see.
Well, they had a blitz of some sort, or somebody missed a block up the middle. It does appear to be a holding against Pittsburgh, and obviously they won't take it.
Obviously.
But he rushed that pass terribly and didn't even throw close to his man.
You're right.
So, I don't know. It might not see him finish out the night. Bradshaw may have to come in.
It's too bad. You don't like to see it happen to the young man. A lot of people have waited a long time for this kind of opportunity for Gilliam for reasons that don't have to be further amplified.
That's true. But he hadn't completed one to his side yet, and 3 to Miami.
That's correct.
You saw Terry Hanratty step over and say a word to the second-year man from Tennessee State. Tough spot to be in. The Dolphins now just about the 3-yard line. 39 Zonka, 22 Morris. Warfield, the wing back. Here comes Morris. And he's nailed right at the line of scrimmage. Mercury Morris, who has accumulated 10 touchdowns on the year. Henry Davis lunging over from his middle linebacker in the goal line defense of the Steelers to make the stop.
Frank, that Anderson, number 40, Dick Anderson, is a tricky, clever runner. He runs a little bit like you used to run when you were playing defense. I'm serious now. I'm not needling you when they finally moved you to offense.
I tell you, I wish I could ski like he skis, Howard. He is really a great skier. Great athlete, all-around athlete, Dick Anderson. No gain for Morris, still 2nd down and 3. See the stacked backfield, that's kick going in motion, 21. Zonka almost takes Greasy with him. It's quite a family, as a matter of fact. His brother was an All-American at Colorado, as was Dick Anderson as a defensive player.
Trouble with Dick Anderson is he confuses Dandy, who often mistakes him for your Premier.
Don't tell Anderson that.
Clock moving, 42 seconds. The Dolphins with the 3rd down. Still, I'll call it 2.5 yards now to go. And back to the regular pro set. Morris and Zonka.
He got him all alone.
All alone. Mandich. Jim Mandich gets his 4th touchdown of the year, his 19th reception. Joe Ball says, what's happening out there?
I can understand that. The phrase for that is blissful solitude. Words written by Wordsworth.
Ho, ho, ho.
And the white handkerchiefs are waved here at the jam-packed Orange Bowl in Miami.
Wordsworth never saw a football game.
No, but he saw daffodils.
Oh. That makes sense?
Yes.
Oh. I'll tell you what, ain't much making sense for Pittsburgh tonight. They're in trouble.
Joe Gilliam, 3 interceptions. Each one has been converted to points, 1 a field goal and 2 touchdowns. Gary Yepremian extends the Miami Dolphin lead. Jim Mandich, and he is one fine tight end. Usually plays behind Marv Fleming, as Howard mentioned. He doesn't like that particular role. Marv Fleming is primarily as a blocker as Don Shula steps into the picture.
That's the good thing about Shula as a coach, really. Mandich is, as I said, unhappy, as Frank, too, has noted. Yet he puts out for Shula. Zonka and Kick, in their book, Always on the Run, are open in their criticisms of Shula, but they'd go through a wall for him. He adapts to his personnel, and I think you've mentioned often that that's the test of an outstanding coach, Don.
In my opinion.
Gary Yepremian again drills another booming kickoff. And this time Steve Davis will give it a shot. Who has it?
I think they got it back.
Steelers made the recovery, getting down there to get the ball. Number 51, Lawrence Taves. Good specialty team man, Lawrence Taves. So the Steelers will move now from their own 22. That in itself unusual thus far this evening.
That's the furthest they've been to start. They haven't been past that 20 to start off.
9 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Dolphins with a 20-0 lead. We look at Franco Harris, and already anticipating what perhaps will be a tie. Right now we have Terry Bradshaw in the game. Joe Gilliam sideline. Steve Davis is also in there, number 35, and Johnny Fuqua. Fuqua gets out over the 25 to the 26. Now here's 2 players that were hurt seriously at the same time. Bradshaw separated shoulder. Fuqua in that very same game against Cincinnati cracked a collarbone. Now they're both back in the action, and they trail the Dolphins 20-0. That's the end of the first quarter. Preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Beginning the second quarter, Terry Bradshaw in the ball game. The ball is at the 25-yard line. 2nd down and 7. Steelers trailing 20-0. This is Steve Davis. Davis, the second-year man from Delaware State, finally stopped by Manny Fernandez in pursuit. On the sidelines, number 15, Earl Morrill, 2 times MVP in the National Football League, 2 different teams, Baltimore, and then in relief of Bob Greasy last year. 18 years out of Michigan State, playing with his 6th team, and this man, Bob Greasy, is something special.
They're probably trying to figure out, Frank, how in the world they've scored 1 point every time they gain 2 yards, because they got 41 total yards and 20 points.
They should go talk to the defense. 3rd down now, call it 5. The ball at the 27. Quick pitch goes to Johnny Fuqua, and Fuqua hurdling, and he will be very close to the 1st down. Dick Anderson moving up there to make the stop. Johnny Fuqua came to the Steelers in 1970 along with Henry Davis when the Steelers sent Dick Shiner to the New York Giants.
There's the 1st down for him.
Very good trade for the Steelers. And Fuqua, who 5 weeks ago cracked a collarbone, gets Pittsburgh's first down of the ball game. 13:42 remaining in the half. It's 33. Bradshaw firing. Forget it. Dick Anderson, his 3rd interception. Touchdown. 38 yards.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
I can't believe it.
3 interceptions by Anderson in a little over 1 quarter.
2 for touchdowns.
Almost a duplicate of the first one he picked off. This time he did not have to dive for it. Look at it again.
Frank, that ball was
end over end
pretty well. Anderson just made a good defensive play. As I mentioned earlier, they are playing with a great deal of confidence. They're taking some chances. They're getting position. They're really being aggressive. That's going to cut this thing down now. They've still got 41 yards, but they got 26 points now. So they're doing better all the time on offense.
Yeah, Premian. And the Dolphins extend their lead with 13:28 remaining in the half to 27-0.
And we thought we were going to have a really great game.
It is good. Just depends on how you look at it.
Certainly great for the Miami Dolphins. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this.
The Dalton Trail in the dead of winter. A lonely, treacherous run for the Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. A tire made to handle the steep climbs and slippery curves. To stop you, even in deep snow. It's the best performing snow tire we've ever offered. Try it on your own Dalton Trail. From radial design and 2 steel belts to the multi-angle tread pattern for deep biting traction. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Only at Sears.
Today, Wembley Neckwear asked the question, why do you wear Wembley ties?
My wife knows. It's my favorite present. Keeps me from spilling soup on my shirt.
Sir, why do you wear a Wembley?
Why do I wear a Wembley? Well, there's Karen.
Yeah, and Julie, and Suzanne.
Whatever your reason, there's a Wembley tie to suit your taste at fine stores everywhere.
Wembley ties keep the elephants away. Everybody knows that.
Wembley ties it all together.
Garrow, your Premian, who must be getting exhausted here in the first half, kicks off again. Pearson at his 8-yard line. Preston Pearson battling and fighting and scrambling all the way to the 35 is Preston Pearson.
Best field position they've had all night.
If you're wondering about Dick Anderson, well, he has just become the 10th man in history of pro football to intercept and return for touchdowns 2 passes. And he has 2.5 quarters, almost 3 quarters to go. I don't like to put it that way, but he still has it.
They keep throwing those same patterns, he'll make it.
Harry Bradshaw up to the line of scrimmage. He'll have a 1st and 10 from his own 35. Fuqua, 33. Davis, 35 are the setbacks. Fuqua Pounding for about 2.5 yards over his right side.
Boy, is this Miami team prepared. There's the story right there of this game. The 4 turnovers against none. But again, a tribute to Miami. A team that clinched a number of weeks ago. A team that talks often among its members about a man named Lombardi. A team whose coach talks about Lombardi. Winning the first time is not enough, Shula says. It's repeating. That's the mark of a real champion.
He better start getting more out of it because he ain't winning every year.
Second down and 7 from his own 38. Bradshaw dumps it off to Fuqua, and you saw...
You had it right, Frank. He dumped it off.
I don't know whether he did it deliberately or it's just the motion from a very sore shoulder.
Well, I really feel sorry for those cats out there because they really haven't got anything going for them. And if they're ever going to get anything, they got to get some sort of rhythm going. And he's got to feel like the only kid at the dance that knows how to two-step and they're playing the boogaloo all night long because he's really off out there.
And now he'll look at the Miami Dolphins 53 defense.
You're not pretty, though, you're not prettier.
Ball at the 38. Barry Pearson left. Shanklin out to the right. Fuqua is complete. And he gets the first down at midfield.
The first pass completion to Pittsburgh by a Pittsburgh quarterback, by anybody tonight.
Larry Ball made the stop. Fuqua with a 12-yard gain. Let's look at it again.
Frank, they're trying to hit the outsides. You see those zones open up pretty good back in there. The Miami defense was dropping back. They expected a pass. Came off to the back. Fuqua, as you mentioned, out of the backfield. Made a good reception. He was open, but then picked up some extra yardage.
And if you're wondering where all of our slow motion is, well, we are having some technical problems. We apologize for that. Hopefully, we'll get them operational again.
Nobody's perfect.
All right. From the 49, the Steelers with their deepest penetration. Here comes Davis. And Davis goes down. Great pursuit there. Number 85, Nick Buoniconti.
I thought it was 84, Frank. I could be. I don't know who it was. But
that was Stanfield then.
Whoever it was. What I was going to say is that was one situation where they looked like they had a hole opened up. But there was one guy, and I thought it was Stanfield, that did make an exceptional play, come from a little bit behind and pull that thing down. It could have been a pretty good game for him.
This program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds. Allow our local stations to identify themselves. Second down and 6. Davis turning the corner, getting back to the line of scrimmage. Hit there by Nick Buoniconti.
Yes, sir. And Buoniconti came across that time from his middle linebacker. Read that one well. It was kind of a slow pitch. I don't know what happened. We have audio, no video. Now we have video. And do we have audio? Yes.
Don't let him throw you down. You just do your thing.
Okay.
Third down and 6. Now look at Nick Buoniconti, who started this whole thing as a 13th round draft pick out of Notre Dame by New England 12 years ago. Ball is at the 44. And Miami jumping into their blitz. Manny Fernandez, I believe, jumping offside. You saw number 59. Mike Colin also infringing.
I think we told the story about Buoniconti on a prior Miami game, but maybe not, Don. Even so, it's worth repeating. How his then coach at Notre Dame, Joe Kuharich, told him he couldn't recommend him for the National Football League. He was too small. He said, Nick, you could put a hole through a brick wall, but it would be a small hole.
I didn't ever heard that story before. I could have, though. I don't listen to a lot of your stories.
Don't be bitter, Dandy.
No, it's just sometimes, you know, those that are gifted with speech don't have a true understanding and appreciation of silence.
You might get 12 favorable letters.
Offsides. Third down now and 1. Manny Fernandez offsides for the Dolphins. Hurdling over the line of scrimmage, Steve Davis gets the first down. He's down to the 37-yard line. Buoniconti again there, along with Swift.
Picks up the first down.
Dolphins out in front, 27-0. 9:49 remaining in the first half. Dolphins, of course, in the playoffs will be the host team here at Miami. They'll host the Western Division champions, but if the wild card team is from that Western Division, then it's the wild card team at Miami and the Central Division champion at the Western champion. Got all that?
Yeah, that's clear to me.
1st and 10 for Pittsburgh. They move at Miami's 37. Davis again, and this time Davis stopped by a man who's been all over the field tonight, Dick Anderson.
Number 34, Andy Russell, linebacker. Through all of the years, always considered an All-Pro, and one of the great people in the league, Frank. One of the men who's so concerned with community action.
Indeed he is, and he has a slight muscle pull, and we don't know whether we'll see any more of Andy this evening. All right, it's 2nd down and 9. Ball at the 36. Terry Bradshaw has replaced Gilliam at quarterback. Play fake, looking for a screen, and the Dolphins read it beautifully. Shanklin makes a yard out of it, but again, that Dolphin defense right over there. Number 59, Doug Swift, moving out from his linebacking spot. Vern Denherter cutting off the inside move of Shanklin.
Well, they wasn't too smooth.
All right, we'll see the prevent defense. Now number 51, Larry Ball, comes into the game for the Dolphins. Out comes Bob Hines. The 4 linebacker setup. They call it a 53 defense. They call it that because Bob Matheson usually plays that spot that Larry Ball is in at the moment, and he wears 53. 3rd down and 8. The ball just short of the 35 of the Dolphins. Bradshaw, and he gets popped as he unloads out in the flat to Steve Davis. Short, incomplete. I have to almost think that it was a Manny Fernandez who let up just a little bit on Terry. Don, it looked like to me he could have really unloaded on him.
Yeah, it could have. He did. It either, the ball was way underthrown. He got a good pressure back there. They're at least going to have an attempt to put something on the board this time. Let's see what Roy can do.
Roy Jarella. Longest of the year has been from 47 yards out. He's kicking now from 43. And that's how it goes when it goes bad. Off to the right. No good. Roy Jarella, who came into tonight's game leading the AFC scoring with 89 points. He saw that disappear as Garo Yepremian tied that after Anderson's first touchdown. 8:19 remaining in the first half. We'll be back after this.
The gifts that won't stay under your tree. Polaroid Square Shooter 2, strictly color. $24.95. Polaroid's Color Pack camera. Big pictures in color or black and white. $39.95. One of Polaroid's folding 400s. The camera made for the famous focused flash. They all give you Christmas pictures on Christmas Day. Is there any other way to take pictures?
Sooner or later, you're going to get some white owls. And when you do, we gotcha. Maybe we'll get...
Roy Jarella gets another shot from the 38. An illegal procedure called against Miami. And he made it this time, and the reason that call came late was because Miami had 12 men on the field. Not a bad trick if you can get away with it. But it was picked up late, so Jarella got another chance. He hit from the 38. The Steelers are on the scoreboard. Roy Jarella originally came from Houston. As I said, he's had a really fine year. He's 21 of 32. A teenage girl learns the facts of life, death, and love during the turbulent years of World War II in A Summer Without Boys. Barbara Bain and Michael Moriarty star on the Tuesday Movie of the Week, 8:30, 7:30 Central, and right here on ABC.
Doesn't sound like much fun.
A Summer Without Boys?
That's right. Well, for girls, however you want to look at it.
Okay, deep. They haven't done too well this year at Mercury Morris because they don't get many opportunities. This team has only given up 9 touchdowns, these Miami Dolphins. Now they're going to have to run this one. That is Charlie Lee. Charlie Lee out to the 35-yard line.
Well, as has been said 3,000 times, if you're going to kick it within the playing area, kick it high, not low. You said something didn't sound like much fun, Dandy. I'm looking forward to the first quarter of next year when Wide World of Sports goes on Sunday as well as Saturday.
I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
The Harlem Globetrotters in London with Will Chamberlain, the Ali Frazier, first time around, never seen before on home TV, just among some of our other great new attractions.
And here's a little attraction here, a little spectacular, if you will, the Dolphins offense.
Look at that man go to the outside.
Mercury Morris.
Oh, man. What a move.
Across midfield. He's at the 48 of the Steelers, a 16-yard pickup.
Not too bad.
Had a couple of good ones there. One back in the backfield right after he got the ball, then bounced to the outside. Goodness. Had John Rouser coming in. Here it comes. Look, there goes Rouser inside. That's just sheer speed going out there. Webster, number 90, was the first one to get to him.
Not designed to encourage Jim Kick.
No, not on that play.
All right, from their 48 now. Webster, of course, has replaced the injured Andy Russell for the Steelers. Greasy wants to go deep. He wants to go to Warfield. Oh, and getting back there was Mel Blount, but still, Warfield had a chance.
Looked like a TD, wasn't. For those of you who are seeing this very great team tonight, you might be advised that a new man may be joining. I'm not saying will be joining, may be joining the Dolphins next year, but you all remember it. Joe Theismann, All-American quarterback from Notre Dame, who elected to go to the Canadian Football League, is in town right here. I went, in fact, to the Notre Dame-Miami game with him Saturday night, and I know the Dolphins are negotiating with him.
It's 2nd down and 10. Indeed he is, Howard. He's right below our booth. And he has made no qualms about it. He wants to play here. Oh, and look at Zonka barrel up the middle, and he still won't go down. Down to the 27.
Oh, me. Oh, me.
They don't have much of a team, do they?
There's that Blunt and Wagner that he hit at the same time. Let's look at this again. This is straight up the middle. Good blocking. Goodness, that was Glenn Edwards that came over there.
Good double team there, Don.
He just
Kuchenberg and Langer.
He just made 1,000 yards.
They're going crazy here. Did you see that statistic? 14:35. Time of possession for the Steelers, just above 7 minutes.
They're giving Zoke the ball for about 1,000. He's over
5,000 yards for his career. He's not at 1,000 this year.
Yeah, well, it is something like that.
Oh, boy, what a football player. But I'll tell you, as you watch this crowd go berserk with those white handkerchiefs, and what a support they are for these Dolphins, it's not easy for the opposition to play here. That's the most misleading statistic I've seen this year. The Steelers in possession 14:35. Miami only slightly above 7 minutes. And the Dolphins lead 27-3 and driving.
On the 28, Zonka approaching 900 yards for the year now. 31 yards on tonight. But again, as he carries the ball, you're looking at a man who joined 18 other players as are the only people in the NFL's history who have gone over 5,000 yards. And you have to say he earns it the hard way. He doesn't get a lot of freewheeling as this big man. But he really punishes defensive backs. He weighs about 235, 237. He's something.
Hey, what an interlude. We'll get to in a moment. One of the great people in sports in this country, in our time or any time, has just joined us in the booth. Jack Nicklaus.
2nd down and 8. This is Morris. Morris moving inside the 25 to the 27.
Must be just a night for greatness.
Jack just had his second $300,000 year, and Jack, I'm glad you come up and see poppers like us. Yeah. Congratulations on your win, by the way.
Thank you.
These guys are not doing bad down here, are they, tonight? You Miami boys, huh?
Oh, are they playing?
They are.
wonder when the offense is going to get the ball again.
We ought to see some statistics here. The offense is moving right now pretty well, though.
Of course, Frank alluded to Jack's victory last week in the Walt Disney Golf Tournament in Orlando.
3rd down and 5. Ball on the 23. Joe Green got back on sides. Completes a Jim kick. Webster takes kick out of bounds at the 13-yard line. That'll be a first down.
That's one of the things they do well with kick. Oh.
Let's show Jack on camera here, gang, since suddenly they're on us. They're coming to us from, I guess, the ground level camera. Right over there, Jack. Let them see this genuine article.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
That's a Mom. Hello. Yeah, right. It's good to see you, Jack.
Well, I called Lynn Anderson, Loretta Lynn. I would never call you on the phone with her, Jack.
No, that's good.
Great to see you.
I have never seen Miami better, Jack.
They look super hard. I don't know. And Anderson's something else,
isn't he?
Right now, they lead 27-3. They have a 1st and 10. They're on the 13-yard line of the Steelers. And here comes Jim Kick. Jim Kick, who has been alternating really this year with Mercury Morris, comes in mostly on passing situations. And he's not too happy about that either.
Frank, Jack's got to run. He says he'll give you 2 aside tomorrow if you'll lay over an extra day.
I can hardly wait to tee it up.
So long, Jack.
Kick coming to the sidelines. Morris back in. 2nd down now. Call it a long 5. The ball inside the 10 at the 8.5. Long night for Chuck Noll. This team is a good football team, these Pittsburgh Steelers. They just ran into a buzzsaw here tonight with a lot of injured players. This is Morris. And Morris has nowhere to go. Coming up there quickly to make the stop, number 48, John Rouser.
Rouser was fooled with that little sidestep a while ago, and he was zeroing in on him that time. Had Mercury try a couple others, and he just fell down of his own motion, I think.
Don Shula, for 7 years, the head coach of the Baltimore Colts. He took them to the Super Bowl. He dropped that one to the Jets. He lost to Dallas with his first Miami team. And then, of course, last year won it all. Won everything. 17 straight. Beating Washington 14-7.
Yeah, he got a lot of criticism when he lost. And I never did really understand that. You know, if supposedly the best team in the world beats you, how can you be really that bad?
Okay, it's 3rd down and 9 with that loss by Morris. Greasy getting it out to Mercury Morris. He's at the 7-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. Nailed there by Mel Blunt, number 47. And little Garo Yepremian will come on again.
Oh, Mercury got a pretty good lick that time. He may be hurting a little bit. Looks like he's holding that arm some.
Ooh.
Yep, he sure is.
Or a rib. To see that.
Yeah.
Or a rib, Don.
I don't know. That's Larry Gardner there on the right that's taking care of him, and he couldn't be in better hands.
Yepremian has hit from 28 and from 46. This time from the 14. Gary Yepremian, 3 field goals on the night, hitting from the 14. The Dolphins extending their lead. And on the sidelines, Mercury Morris looking for another 1,000-yard year. He already had 42 yards tonight, but he is in pain. We'll be back right after this.
It's good at toy stores, appliance stores, jewelry stores, sporting goods, music stores. It's MasterCharge, good in more places for more gifts than any other card. And best of all, it lets you stretch out your payments. So this Christmas, don't worry. Relax. You've got MasterCharge.
The Great One presents...
The great entertainers from General Electric. What value?
A selection of 100% solid-state color sets in a multitude of screen sizes. You get brilliant performance. And the brightest, sharpest pictures in GE history. I demand value for my hard-earned inheritance. I'm having Mother put a GE in every room of my villa.
General Electric Television, The Great Entertainer.
And from the field level, watch Gary Yepremian set it up as our producer and director. Bounce around looking for something to do with the slow-mo equipment in a malfunctioning state. And there goes Mercury Morris through the sidelines. It looks to me as if he's holding his shoulder. We'll try and get more definite word in just a moment. Right now, here comes Preston Pearson. Nope, bobbles the ball. As Gary Yepremian is having a big night for such a little fellow. .254 remaining in the first half. Dolphins now extending their lead 30-3 over the Steelers. The Steelers next week will go back and they will go against Houston. And if they lose this game, which all indications would mean that they will, and they're going to fall into a tie with Cleveland and Cincinnati in the AFC Central Division. Bradshaw at the helm. Down goes Bradshaw at the 14. Bob Hines was in there. Number 75 was in there. Manny Fernandez. 6-yard loss.
I'll help you out.
Well, let's see what happened. He's taking a little time, but he got some pretty good pressure from that outside on the right side, Frank. I don't think he really had a chance to get that one off. Things really do have a way of going bad, man, when you get them started. Terry's coming in. He had, of course, it was 5 weeks ago when he had his injury, so this is the first live action he's had in 5 weeks, so I'm sure he's, to say the least, a little bit rusty.
And he looks now over a 2nd down and 16, the ball at the 14, and no one plays this defense better than the Miami Dolphins. There comes Bill Stanfield, and he really nails Bradshaw. This time all the way back to the 8-yard line.
Oh, my. This is the second rout I've seen in 3 nights at this stadium. As I mentioned, I went to the Notre Dame-Miami game. In fact, you guys got in a little later on Sunday. But I had a great time as we watched this sack again by 84 Stanfield, who's come a long way in his pro career, I might add, the young gentleman from Georgia. But I had a great time with Ara Parsegian and his Notre Dame group, and are they looking forward to the Sugar Bowl showdown now, apparently for the national championship against the Crimson Tide of Alabama New Year's Eve, right here on ABC.
Bear and the boys are kind of looking forward to it, too.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the 2-minute warning. Paul Warfield looks on from the sideline. Things well in hand. We'll be back in a moment.
Excuse me, but you're going to need this. Gillette's new Max for Men.
I need that? Why?
It'll give you the natural look you're after.
But I'm in a hurry.
Exactly. Max for Men, the man's hair dryer, now has the power to dry hair really fast. And you know that funny cowlick?
I've always had it.
That brush helps smooth it down. And this comb helps add fullness. Well?
I need it.
Who doesn't? Max for Men. New from Gillette.
The way things are now, I can't always get all the gas I want. That doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make me happy. Point is, I need all the friends I can get. So when you come in, I'll give you tips on how to get better gas mileage. Do what I can to keep your car running good, too. That way, neither one of us will use as much gas. Maybe if I treat you like a friend now, you'll remember who was good to you. So come on in. I can be very friendly.
Two minutes remaining in the first half. You look at part of this capacity crowd, a very happy crowd. They've watched a great defensive performance tonight by their Dolphins. They lead now 30-3 over the Steelers. 4 interceptions in the early going. 3 by the starting quarterback Joe Gilliam, 1 by Terry Bradshaw. And right now, Bradshaw, number 12, is looking over 3rd down and 21 situation. He's at his own 9-yard line. He goes with the draw play to Fuqua. Fuqua, he had to get out to the 30. He made it back to the 20. Stopped by Doug Swift, number 59. Johnny Fuqua came into pro football, 11th round pick out of Morgan State. Let's look at him again. He's playing hurt also, Don.
Yeah, he is. That one was almost stopped in the backfield. They picked up a little yardage, but they had him back in a hole. You'd kind of expect a draw play in a situation like that.
Bobby Walden, and we're going to have this brought back, running into the kicker. as Jake Scott calls for the fair catch down at the 38. But Larry Ball, taking a flying shot at the kick of Bobby Walden, ran into Bobby Walden instead. That will give the Steelers a first down and an additional 5 yards. We've just received word that Mercury Morris, who left the field, we saw him a few moments ago, walking, holding his shoulder, and he has injured his shoulder. We do not know as yet how serious he was injured.
Hope he hasn't had a separation. Of course, that's what happened as you look at Don Shula to Tim Foley in that Dallas game, Thanksgiving Day. You may remember, Don, Calvin Hill carrying the ball. Foley went into him. Calvin gave him a terrific shot, and down went Tim with the shoulder separation.
I didn't see that game.
Should have.
Not necessarily.
First and 10, the Steelers. Now they move from their own 25. They have equaled Miami's production of first downs with 4, but not interceptions. Bradshaw bouncing around and finally nailed Bob Matheson, number 53, in there to make the stop. Matheson, who has meant so much to this Miami Dolphin defense since coming from Cleveland a couple of years ago. They named the defense after Matheson.
Well, I don't know what's going on, Frank. Looked like they tried some sort of a blitz. It was picked up pretty well. That was a one kind of move. He tried it again, and it didn't work. Matheson went to school on the first move and caught him in midair.
Went to school, eh?
Went to school.
Mm-hmm.
There's Hanratty there on the sideline.
I wonder if he's feeling a little happier about being there at the moment.
Well, I doubt it.
No, he's really had a tough time. He had a good year going. Hurt his ribs, then hurt his wrist last week. Miami eager again. They've got to the Steelers quarterback 3 times already tonight with 17 yards of losses. Everybody wants to get into the act when it's going well. 56 seconds remaining in the first half.
1 week from this Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports Live, NCAA college basketball. Defending champions UCLA will meet North Carolina State in what may prove to be the game of the year. That's 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central, and 2 Pacific, a week from Saturday over most of these ABC stations.
The 2 teams ranked 1 and 2 in the country, UCLA and both back of North Carolina State.
On second down and 11, Terry Bradshaw looking for the screen. It's it out to Johnny Fuqua. Fuqua does a little tightrope walk down the sidelines, gets out to about the 28-yard line.
Howard's mentioned ABC's Wide World of Sports will be twice weekly, starting in January. You mentioned a couple of them, Howard, but we got the World Professional Figure Skating Championships, World Skiing Championships, and how about that auto racing thing?
The World Series of Auto Racing, the International Race of Champions, top stock car and sports car drivers. We got a lot of great stuff coming up right
pro
here
skiing, yeah, pro skiing, pro track.
Third down and 9, the ball at the 26-yard line. The Steelers trying to get back into this football game, and it'll be a rough row. Frank Lewis is in now as 1 wide receivers. Bradshaw is going to have to run again. And he unloads it.
I think he got it.
Preston, now Ron Shanklin. That he did. Bradshaw scrambling out of the pocket. Hit Ron Shanklin for a 13-yard gain as you look at the clock, and it'll be a first down for Pittsburgh.
35 seconds left, Frank. I'd say that what they really are going to try to do is just get in the field goal range. Miami's going to give them, I think, that. They're going to play back and try to protect against the touchdown. So if Bradshaw will call some patterns, it'll be turn-ins across the middle, get maximum blocking, he might be able to get that thing at least in field goal range.
Frank Lewis is back into the game. Frank Lewis, who missed 5 games early in the year, is the Steelers' fastest receiver. He had a big game last week against Cleveland, caught 7. In fact, his best ever. Number 43, Frank Lewis, with a lot of speed. The Steelers have had their problems, but when you think back, it was only a few weeks ago that they had a comfortable 2-game lead. And now the whole thing in the AFC Central Division is threatening to be locked up in a 3-way tie between Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh.
And ain't it funny how time slips away? Signs are out here in full force tonight. They just
changed. They suspended for a moment a municipal ordinance, not audience. They can't suspend this audience. Municipal ordinance bars banners, but for this occasion, they're all right.
It's only fair.
Steelers with the 1st and 10. And again, Miami a little eager. Vern Den Herder. Jumping off sides, number 83. And paying the 5 yards.
Well, somebody's a wise guy. Meredith paid that guy off.
Oh, no, that's not true. We just don't know how to spell your name.
Penalty moves the ball out to the 46, just beyond the 46. 35 seconds remaining on the clock. Bradshaw in and out of the head.
There it is, 4 and 1 ball game.
I don't believe it.
Who is it? Dick Anderson. How about that?
4 interceptions. He's a leading receiver tonight.
That's right. That's a good mark for a season in interceptions, Don.
That is incredible. And that's the only one that's been tipped, though. He's picked off the others clean.
No, one other was tipped, Don.
I thought the other guy got it. I think Anderson got the tip one. Let's look at it again. That was in and out of the hands of that same cat.
And Dick Anderson has tied a single game record of 4 interceptions in the same game. An NFL record. With 22 seconds remaining in the half. He ties a lot of people, but he has an opportunity to break it. The Dolphins now 1st and 10. They have the ball at the 45-yard line of the Steelers. And up the middle goes big Larry Zonka. Nailed there. Gets about a yard. Henry Davis moved in.
Halftime approaches, Giff. Forgive me, and we've got all of those big upsets of yesterday. Cincinnati against Minnesota. Buffalo against Atlanta. Buffalo with O.J. The near defeat of the Redskins by the suddenly awakened Giants. Giff liked that. He smiled.
I like that. Howard, there are a bunch of, as I said, 12 players have intercepted 4 passes in a single game. How about running some names by you? You know who did one? Sammy Baugh. You believe that? Don Dahl did it. Bob Nussbaumer, Russ Kraft, Bob Dylan, Jack Butler. Jerry Norton did it. Dave Baker, Bobby Ply, Bobby Hunt, Willie Brown.
Jack Butler played with these Pittsburgh Steelers, a lad from St. Bonaventure. Very great player, played in the late 50s with the Steelers.
How about Bobby Dillon, Green Bay?
Not too bad.
How about Jerry Norton from SMU?
I knew you'd get to that.
Well, I just thought I'd mention it. Good old Texarkana boy, right down the road from Mount Vernon.
Dick Anderson.
Toronto loves Howard, Giff, and Dandy Don. Mary Donna loves Dandy Don. Mary Donna's out in San Francisco. She's watching tonight. 13-year-old and Chet 40 and Omar both took shots at her last week. I got to do something with Omar and 40.
2nd down and 9. Greasy stepping out of the pocket. Dumps it off. Complete. Goes to Jim Mandich. And Mandich down the sideline. He gets out of bounds with the clock showing 3 seconds remaining. They're at the 26-yard line. 19-yard pickup.
Okay, out comes Garrow. Field goal attempt. This team is a positive machine. A mechanized group, which is appropriate, Don, as we look at Greasy again out of the pocket, hitting Jim.
It was a good move by Greasy. He was going downfield, I think, trying to look for Warfield. He got a little pressure up the middle, moved out the outside, hit Mandich.
I haven't had time to tell you fellas yet, and I'm probably not going to have time now, but we were on it today here in Miami by the Mechanized Infantry 4th Division at Fort Carson College.
High snap. And this time Yepremian does not hit, but the little man has picked up 12 points already tonight, taken over the lead and scoring from his counterpart on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Roy Girella. And that's the end of the first half. We'll be back in Miami's Orange Bowl right after this.
What's the price of this Mustang, too?
Well, this two-door hardtop has a base sticker price, excluding dealer prep.
Destination charges, title, and taxes.
$28.95.
I see. $28.95. Okay, now, What's the price for those fancy buckets?
Well, there's no extra charge. They're standard.
What about all those gauges?
They're standard.
Ah, the tachometer. I have to pay extra for that, right?
No, it's standard.
Standard. What about this thick plush carpeting?
Standard.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't a 3-speed transmission. It's a 4-speed.
Right. No extra charge.
No extra charge.
Mustang 2 also gives you good gas economy. Standard at no extra charge. Of course, there are options available.
Aha! What if I want white wall tires? Extra, right?
Oh, yes, $29.
The remarkably well-equipped Mustang 2. By all standards, it's the right car at the right time. See your Ford dealer.
Toma busts a drug ring Thursday night at 8, 7 Central.
So completely dominated by an obviously great team, the Miami Dolphins. Quickly, let's go to the way the points were scored in the first half. Almost immediately, Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam, number 17, Pittsburgh Steelers, after the Miami kickoff, got into trouble. Facing his big opportunity, obviously unnerved by the pressures, despite his protestations to the contrary, he threw a pass. Anderson, Dick Anderson, number 40, picked it off. 23 yards in for a touchdown. Yepremian's conversion was good. 7-0 Miami. Shortly thereafter, Gilliam had another pass picked off. And then a 28-yard field goal by Yepremian. 10-0 Miami. Still later, and in the first period, a 46-yard Yepremian field goal. 13-0 Miami. And then another touchdown. 2-yard pass from Greasy to Jim Mandich, all alone in a corner of the end zone near the right sideline. Yepremian's conversion good. 20-0 Miami. Then in the second quarter, Dick Anderson again, who intercepted 4 passes in the first half, 2 for touchdown returns, did it again. You're looking at it now. There's number 40, timing perfect, reading of the play perfect, picking it off. The pass having been intended for 25 Shanklin. Yepremian made the conversion good, 27-0. Finally, after a penalty gave Roy Gerella a second shot, a 38-yard field goal for Pittsburgh, 27-3. Then Yepremian with a 14-yard field goal with 3:02 left in the half. Miami 30-3. Yepremian missed just as the half ended. Still another field goal attempt. That's what happened in the first half today, and it's been an absolute disaster for a powerhouse Pittsburgh Steelers team that has seen everything go wrong. Well, a lot of things went wrong yesterday for some of the top teams in the NFL. Can happen to anybody. And to see some of the things that went wrong, here are the halftime highlights. The trees that surround Robert F. Kennedy Stadium in Washington, D.C. as the hapless New York Giants visit the Redskins, who lead in the Eastern Division of the NFC. The Redskins are leading 3-0 at this point, but not after Ron Johnson bursts in for a 3-yard touchdown. Giants 7, Redskins 3. Now this is the third play of the second quarter, and that's Randy Johnson, quarterback, number 11, hitting Bob Tucker, 38, the fine Giants tight end, and suddenly, unexpectedly, the Giants are leading the favored Washington team 14-3. This is just 2 minutes later, and the Giants are ready to strike again. You're looking again at Randy Johnson. This time he throws and hits Ron Johnson out of the University of Michigan. Ron moves in for a score, and the Giants lead the Redskins 21-3. This is later in the second quarter. Billy Kilmer, number 17, throwing downfield for Charlie Taylor, number 42. Charlie grabs the football. It's a 53-yard pass. Now, with just 6 minutes left in the first half, the handoff goes from Kilmer to Larry Brown, the irrepressible number 43, and the score, the Giants 21, the Redskins 10. That's Sonny Jurgensen taking the field. It's action in the third quarter, replacing the injured Bill Kilmer. And immediately throwing to number 87, the tight end Jerry Smith. Short pass. Punches thrown after the play between, well, Richmond Flowers and Jerry, but no harm done. Now with 6 minutes into the fourth quarter, the Giants are leading 24-13. Jurgensen throwing a 20-yard pass completion to 43 Larry Brown, who looked like the indomitable one of a year ago on this particular day. This is just 2 plays later. And you're seeing Larry Brown move in 6 yards, touchdown, and the Redskins have closed the gap to 24-20. Then, with just 4 minutes remaining, Sonny Jurgensen throwing to Larry Brown again. 3 touchdowns on the day. The Redskins beat the Giants 27-24. Keep first place in the Eastern Division of the NFC. But, of course, there are the Dallas Cowboys still to contend with as far as the Redskins are concerned, and Dallas is playing tough Denver at Mile High Stadium. But Roger Staubach is undaunted. There, he hits Gene Fugit, the tight end, for a touchdown to make the score Dallas 7, Denver nothing. That was in the first quarter. Now we move ahead to the fourth quarter. And Roger the Dodger, the artful one, is at it again with the same receiver, the tight end Gene Fugit. It's a touchdown. At this point, Dallas leads 20-3. Then, with 5 minutes, 30 seconds left in the game, Billy Van Heusen is back for a punt in the end zone, and he's corralled for a safety by 31 Benny Barnes. 22-3 Dallas. Denver tried to fight back, but it was a case of too little, too late. Watch this. 2 minutes remaining in the game. Charlie Johnson looking for his tight end, number 88, Riley Odoms, touchdown. But Dallas wins the game 22-10. They trail Washington by 1 game. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. The Cleveland Browns against the Kansas City Chiefs. At this point, it's the Chiefs 20, the Browns 6. But there goes Greg Pruitt, 34, the rookie out of the University of Oklahoma. This is fourth quarter action, and he is scampering 65 yards for a touchdown. Suddenly, it's the Chiefs 20, the Browns 13. Now, with 2:30 left in the game, Mike Phipps throws downfield, hits Milt Morin. 1 tackle broken, another. Escape, and still another, and still another. And Milt Morin is going down for a touchdown, 51-yard play, tie outcome, 20-20.
This is a $20 pipe, and this is a $6.95 Dr. Graybo pipe. They're both made from the same fine imported briarwood. But while it might take weeks to break in this $20 pipe, you can enjoy your Dr. Graybo pipe right away. Because all Dr. Graybo pipes are mechanically pre-smoked. A $20 pipe or a $6.95 Dr. Graybo pipe. You decide. Dr. Graybo pre-smoked pipes. The perfect Christmas gift.
This is big, beautiful Zenith solid-state Chromacolor 2. Built in the Zenith tradition of dependability and picture excellence. And now it comes in a brilliant new portable. Small, beautiful solid-state Chromacolor 2 with a new solid-state chassis, a unique voltage regulator to protect components, and an advanced Chromacolor picture tube. You'll enjoy Zenith dependability and the best color picture we've ever brought you. See the new solid-state Chromacolor 2 portables from Zenith.
If you got a pair of shoes that are giving you the blues, Mr. Feelgood will make you feel right. He'll get you moving on a court. He's great for any sort of sport. He'll give you pep in every step. His shoes are super light. Pro-Cats give you speed and traction. Pro-Cats give you satisfaction. They fit right, they're so light, so
Foam padded Pro-Cats from Uniroyal. We're in the business of winning.
2 have-not teams, the Jets against the Colts, and that's Marty Domris in the second quarter as the Colts are trailing by a score of 3-0. Raymond Chester caught the ball, was tackled by Burgess Owens, 22. Chester fumbled, the ball picked up by Phil Wise. You see Wise moving all the way down the left sideline, unmolestedly touchdown. Suddenly, the Jets lead by a score of 10-0. Now, this is near the end of the first half. This was a great day for Joe Willie Namath, who hit for 16 of 21. Right there, he hit Emerson Boozer, 15 yards, touchdown. The Jets 17, the Colts nothing. But in the fourth quarter with the score, the Jets 17, the Colts 3, Marty Domris passes to Cotton Spira. And Spira passes downfield, the first pass he ever threw. It becomes a touchdown for the Colts. It finally wound up the Jets 20, the Colts 17, and that was it. This was a football game in Atlanta Stadium. That's the juice. Up in Buffalo, they say Miami has the oranges and Buffalo has the juice. And there goes the juice on a typical dash. A beautiful ball player who again gained over 100 yards on this day. That was an 18-yarder for the juice. Here's the handoff to him again from young Joe Ferguson of Arkansas, rapidly developing as a quarterback. There you see the juice with his every move. You saw him get past the line of scrimmage, shake off that tackler right there. This was a 32-yard gain for O.J. Let's watch him again. It's worth the price of admission in any stadium just to see this man play. This is another 18-yarder. You're in tight on him, and you can see the way the shoulders operate. It wound up with a fumble on this play, but was recovered by Buffalo. And the fumble recovery safely in hand. Let's take a look at Jim Braxton, the big one from West Virginia, who's doing so much to help O.J. In this one, a big upset. Buffalo 17, Atlanta 6. Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. The Bengals in a do-or-die effort against the powerhouse Vikes. And this is the way this game went today. Or that day. A little over 3 minutes left in the first half. Ed Marinaro fumbling. The ball recovered by Lamar Parrish. Returned 23 yards for a touchdown. 10-0 Bengals. Now watch Essex Johnson, number 19. Smallish fellow, only 5'9", but with an acceleration unparalleled perhaps in the National Football League. And suddenly it's the Bengals 17, the Vikes nothing. This is the 6th play of the 4th quarter. Kenny Anderson, 7 yards, touchdown to the big tight end, Bob Trumpy. Upset, 27-0.
Well, it's not a full moon over Miami. It's a half moon, but it has been a beautiful night from the Miami Dolphins. They lead the Pittsburgh Steelers at halftime 30-3. You saw the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sure Paul Brown's players are watching this game with perfect interest. And, of course, Nick Scorch's Cleveland Browns. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Miami Dolphins, is being brought to you by Sears Tire and Auto Centers, home of the Die-Hard battery and the Sears steel-belted radial tire, and by Ford and your Ford dealers, who invite you to take a close look at the 1974 Ford cars and trucks. The closer you look, the better we look. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins, brought to you by ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. Right after this word from our local stations.
Alan King presents The Many Faces of Comedy tomorrow at 10, 9 Central.
Well, that's true in both ways, and we have talked so much about the first quarter programming of ABC Sports coming up this year, and it does really promises to be a great year. It's been a great night for the Miami Dolphins, but it will be a great time for ABC, as Keith Jackson tells us. Now in its 13th year, ABC's Wide World of Sports expands its programming as the Emmy Award-winning show goes to twice a week, Saturdays and Sundays beginning in January. The Harlem Globetrotters will be on hand from London, so will pretty Janet Lynn. And for the first time ever on home TV, the Ollie Frazier Fight of the Century. Saturday afternoons, bowling on ABC as we begin our 12th year of covering the Professional Bowlers Tour. And on Sundays, Howard Cosell will be offering a variety of provocative and interesting guests on Howard Cosell Sports Magazine. The Bing Crosby National Pro-Am on January 5th and 6th is just the first of many great golf tournaments here on ABC, including the Andy Williams, Hawaiian Open, and the Doral Open. The award-winning series, The American Sportsman, with host Kurt Gowdy, will feature such personalities as Ernest Borgnine, Dan Rowan, Jerry Lewis, and many more. And Bob Sigrin returns to defend his title in an expanded Superstar series beginning in January. All this and more, January, on most of these ABC stations. And what a great year it promises to be as we return to the Orange Bowl here in Miami, where a sensational defensive effort by the Miami Dolphins got them off and running. They intercepted 3 passes, converted 2 to touchdowns, 1 to a field goal before Pittsburgh hardly knew what had hit them. The Steelers, of course, in that battle in the Central Division of the AFC. And should they lose tonight, in all probability they're going to lose. They're going to fall into a 3-way tie in that race for the AFC's Central Division.
Hard to believe, Giff. Just 3 weeks ago, Pittsburgh led its division by 2.5 games, and it's a fine football team. Injuries have hurt them. And one has to feel badly for young Gilliam tonight, Don. One has to wonder how he's going to be affected by the adversity that beset him.
That's absolutely right, Howard, because he didn't get off to anything close to a good start, and I know he was very confident that he could do the job. He never completed a pass to his own men through 7 times, so it's kind of hurt him an awful lot. Means he'd have to go back and think about it some more, I guess.
About set to get underway as you look at Joe Gilliam. He has a lot of confidence. He'll be all right. I think we have all watched him play enough to realize that this man has a great deal of potential. It's hard to step into the shoes of a starting quarterback as he had to tonight. Underway, Rory Girella drills it deep to Jake Scott at the goal line. And Scott is nailed out at the 17-yard line. Getting down there quickly was Rocky Blyer for the Steelers. 17-yard return.
Just got word, Giff, that Mercury Morris has a jammed neck. He could play, apparently, according to our latest word, in the second half if that were necessary. But quite obviously, it doesn't appear that it will be necessary.
Morris, who went out of the game, having gained on the year 42 yards tonight, took him over 900 yards. Bob Greasy goes at quarterback. Zonka, number 39, 1 setback, and Jim Kick replacing Morris, number 21. And out to the flat and knocked out of the hands of Mandich. Ruled complete. John Rouser up there to make the stop. The ball taken, knocked out of the hands of Mandich, but apparently it was ruled that he had possession. Gain of 5 yards. Call it 4. It'll be second down and 6.
Isn't that time of possession, Don, just incredible?
Yeah, it really is.
That's called 5 interceptions.
Yeah, that's it.
Offensively, for the Dolphins, it remains the same, at least for the moment. Marlon Briscoe goes to the bottom of your screen. He's 86. Warfield the top. Number 42, the tight end, number 88. Bottom of your screen now is Jim Mandich. Zonka on the draw play with a wedge block up the middle. He gets maybe a yard and a yard and a half. The defensive front 4 of the Steelers remaining the same. Ernie Harris, brother Ernie Holmes, 63, 75, Joe Green, 78, White, 68, L.C. Greenwood. And that applause you heard is Mercury Morris walking out, a solitary figure with his uniform on. Moving down the sidelines towards the Miami bench is Mercury Morris. Third down and 4. There he is. And apparently all right. Ball is at the 23-yard line of the Dolphins. Just underway from the Orange Bowl here in the second half. Zonka on the draw. Nailed there by Joe Green. Tom Keating, number 74, in to help out. Keating now having replaced Ernie Holmes. Interestingly enough, Mercury Morris a native of Pittsburgh, where he was a fantastic athlete there. Avonworth High School. And he lettered in just about everything they had. Larry Seipel comes in to punt for Miami. Glenn Edwards drops deep for the Steelers, along with Dennis Meyer. Seipel rips it. It'll be Meyer makes a diving catch with no fair catch indicated out to the 48-yard line, 32-yard punt. So Pittsburgh will have the ball, good field position.
You'd think, Frank, that they're going to have to start passing. They're too far behind to really stick with any kind of a semblance of an original game plan. They've got pretty good field position. Have Bradshaw coming back in at a quarterback, and he has been able to throw very well in the past. This is the first time, as we mentioned, that he's played in 5 weeks. Let's see if he can get that arm loosened up. They're going to put that ball in the air.
Mark it at the 47. The Steelers, their first possession in the second half. The handoff goes to Preston Pearson. He gets maybe a yard against a tough Miami defensive unit.
What do you suppose Chuck Noll could have told his men at halftime? Not relative, there's L.C. Greenwood, the fine defensive end. Not relative to this game, but holding his team together now that they're probably going to be in a three-way tie with Cleveland and Cincinnati for the future of the season.
I would guess that he would appeal to their personal pride as football players and trying to play representative football.
Right now, the Steelers look over a second down and 8. Franco Harris, 32. And this is Bradshaw now. I think that play designed to go out to Franco Harris, and he never had a chance to get it there. Pressure from Larry Ball taking Terry Bradshaw out of bounds. 1-yard pickup. A defensive unit for the Steelers. Stanfield, or rather the Dolphins. Stanfield 84, Hines 72. Manny Fernandez 75, 83, Vern Den Herder. That's that front line. Number 59, Doug Swift is in there. Larry Ball, number 51, is in. The cornerbacks 45, Curtis Johnson, Lloyd Mumford 26. The safeties, Dick Anderson, what a night he's had, number 40, and Jake Scott. 3rd down and 7. The ball resting just at midfield. Bradshaw unloads it in and out of the hands of Shanklin. And Bradshaw feeling a lot of pressure from Manny Fernandez and Bill Stanfield. 4th down, and out trots Bobby Walden. The Steelers out of field goal range. And the defensive unit of the Miami Dolphins gets an ovation from this partisan crowd. Oh, the fake, and it goes to Steve Davis. He's got the first down. He's inside the 40. Dick Anderson made the stop along with Mumford.
Not really too unexpected, Frank, when you think about it, because they got to pull out all the stops. I'd look for fake punts, field goals, anything to make any kind of an offensive move. These guys haven't done well all day. You see Davis there he was in that short fullback position or blocking position on the punt. Snap was to him. Obviously was a design play off left tackle, so they've got to get something going. Anything they pull out of a bag of tricks, they're going to use.
All right, Davis takes it all the way to the 37 of Miami. 30-3, the Dolphins leading over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Preston Pearson moving behind Sam Davis. Around the right side, picks up good yardage, give him 6 down to the 32-yard line. Fine record, and he lost most of those in the first year that he came to Pittsburgh.
1-1 and lost 13 that year. He's a good coach.
He's played under some good coaches too, Howard. He started under Sid Gilman in San Diego, and as we mentioned earlier, went on to play under Don Shula. Good men that he's learned under. Was a good player himself with Cleveland back in the 50s.
He got Paul Brown there then, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. So he's learned from the very best. It's 2nd down and 4. Well, just inside the 31. Quick toss to Franco Harris. Turns the right side, close to the first down. I don't know whether he got it. Dan Herder over there forcing the play on Harris. You see the officials tell them to pick it up to measure just how close he came, and Franco Harris got the first down. Another little guest in our booth, the cricket himself, Bobby Goldsboro. Bobby, give us a little cricket.
See the tree, how big he's grown? Let's have it. How are you, Bobby?
He's got the best cricket in show business.
Don't go away, Bobby, before this thing's over. We may need you often.
1st and 10, the ball at the 27. Bradshaw looking for,
oh, man.
Well, he finds Shanklin. He originally was looking for Frank Lewis.
There's a flag down there.
Flag goes down.
Goldsboro said he was the only one that predicted a 30-3 halftime score. Do you believe that?
If one can understand cricketese, I'll believe it.
Anybody can cut his foot on a Rice Krispie can't be all bad. And that's what Goldsboro does.
Now we have all the striped shirts gathered down there at the 10-yard line, putting this one back together again.
It appears it's going to stand up, Frank, because they've got the ball marked down there, and both teams are there, so it must be either against Miami, or I don't know what it is. I shouldn't even talk about it, right? Right.
You know, we had Milton Berle with us last week, and you saw his great show last week. Tomorrow night, Alan King and his guests, Milton Berle, George Burns, Godfrey Cambridge, Jody Fields, and Danny Thomas. Just some of the stars you'll see on the many faces of comedy. Tomorrow night, as I said, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, right here.
Where?
ABC.
Pushing against Miami, 1st and 10 for the Steelers, looking for their first touchdown of the night. They have the ball on the 9-yard line, 1st and goal. Franco Harris and the big man, Bulls inside the 5. Right to the 5, hit there by Bob Matheson, 53. Bob Heinz, number 72. Happy little pair.
Yep.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Pair of young rebels. Stormy Petrels. Well, what football players?
Lloyd Mumford was called on Miami a few moments ago for pushing. That brought the Steelers their first down at the 9-yard line. They now have a 2nd down and goal, the ball at the 5. Oh, and beautiful deflection there, this time by Jake Scott. The pass intended for Frank Lewis, and Jake Scott got over there, and what a pair of safety men these Miami Dolphins have. And Scott and Anderson.
Yeah, they were trying to get him inside of Lloyd Mumford that time. Or was it Curtis Johnson, I guess, on this side? It was Curtis Johnson over there. Instead of a square-out move, they were trying to get him right on the inside. Johnson's playing to the outside shoulder. It didn't quite work.
Look at Don Shula. He played under some pretty good people, too. Former Baltimore Colt defensive back and a Cleveland Brown player. All right, ground level on 3rd down and goal from the 5. Bradshaw over the middle. Touchdown, Preston Pearson.
Yeah.
Preston Pearson, and Bradshaw with that bad shoulder and that limited arm action really drilled that in there.
Pearson let out all the frustration of the evening that the Steelers have been feeling when he flung that ball into the turf. And the Miami fans signaled their displeasure.
Rory Girella. And Girella converts the Steelers' first touchdown to shorten Miami's lead to 30-10. 9 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl in just a moment.
Now comes Miller time. The flag is dropped, the race is a memory. And now you're coasting into the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, if you've got the time, we've got the beer, if you've got the time.
Nobody wants to look at underarm stains, but they're a real problem. You use an antiperspirant and you still get stains. Stains that won't wash out. Well, now there's a new antiperspirant. The first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. A new powder so effective, it helps stop wetness and stains. See for yourself. new right guard powder dry antiperspirant. It's the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard.
Rory Jarella sets the kickoff. Terry Bradshaw just completed a pass to Preston Pearson. Only the third time that Miami has given up a touchdown pass. Jake Scott, 13, is deep. Charlie Lee, 23, is back there with him. This will be Lee. Charlie Baby almost got in trouble, but it went out of bounds within the end zone. Charlie Lee, and Miami has been awesome all year. They came into tonight's game having only given up 9 touchdowns, 2 of them through the air, 7 on the ground. They've given up 10 on the year. Somehow it's a team that just doesn't impress you that much individually, but they just get the thing done. And a lot of teams will vouch for that, including the Washington Redskins of a year ago. 8:58 remaining in the third quarter. Gracie going all the way. Kick 21, Zonka 39 on the setbacks. Zonka gets blocked by Little in front of Zonka, and Zonka gets 5. He moves out to the 25. A little rhubarb going on downfield. Frustration more than anything on the part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They go on to play Houston next week. Then they will close out their season against San Francisco. Cleveland, of course, meets Cincinnati next week, and that could be an important game for all 3 teams that are involved. Then Cleveland closes out against the Rams, and Cincinnati closes out against Houston.
Oh, boy. What a schedule Cleveland's had.
On 2nd down and 5. Kick, bobble the ball. Steelers have it. What? Let's see. L.C. Greenwood, I think.
Well, let's whip up the interest here.
I told you it's not over.
When did you say that?
During the commercial break. I heard him say that. And you said also something that was very good. Pittsburgh has outscored Miami in the second half. And that's something to think about. And they've also got good field position.
It would be interesting if they ran second half scores in the standings, wouldn't it?
There's old Hollywood Bags, and that's what L.C. Greenwood likes to be referred as. He wants to be an actor, Don.
Well,
I don't know why I said that to you.
I don't know either. Yeah, I guess we all do, don't we?
I was just looking for help. First down and 10, the ball at the 28. Bradshaw, and the lateral back to Bradshaw. From Franco Harris. Pulled, no Dolphins, and Frank Lewis was down there with double coverage.
Now, that's going to be a fun one because I think we're going to see a lot of fun plays that we haven't seen before. As I mentioned earlier, that's not in your standard NFL playbook, but let's look at it again. Franco throws back to Terry.
We used to have a name for that. What did they call it? I forgot.
Flea flicker?
Flea flicker, that's it.
Yeah.
How did you know that, Howard?
How did I know? I remember Jimmy Orr standing all alone on January 12, 1969, waving to Earl Morrill, who never saw him. Finally, Morrill threw wrongly. 22, Jim Hudson picked it up.
You asked for it, Frank.
Jets complete 16-7 upset. Super Bowl 3. Let's go back to the
I'm sorry I asked. On 2nd down, Bradshaw scrambling and underthrows, and you have to suspect that Bradshaw, with a good arm, would have been able to get that pass off to Franco Harris. Doug Swift pursuing Bradshaw. You know, the one thing we haven't seen that Pittsburgh has in their repertoire is number 43, Frank Lewis, the speedster, on the reverse. But let's look at that last play.
Frank, it seems they're getting somebody. It looked like to me that the right guard, that would be Van Dyke, missed the block because they're getting somebody in there open almost every pass play. And that time it was Swift, as you pointed out, forced him out of the pocket. I think Bradshaw just threw that one away. I don't think he was really trying to get it there.
It's 3rd down and 10. Bradshaw back with a little conference with Franco Harris. Probably didn't get the snap number.
Probably told Franco to him throw it this time.
Plenty of time. Gets it off, and it's complete.
Will be short by about a half yard.
Larry Brown knows that he is short. Larry Brown, the reserve tight end. And, well, Bradshaw looking to the sideline. Shall we go for it? He was short by just about a yard.
Oh, you know they got to go for it, Frank.
Got to go for it. No question. Got to do it.
That's
another touchdown, and we do have a ball game.
Well, he's sending in the big blockers now. Several substitutions. That call looked like it did come from the bench. You saw John Fuqua, number 33, come in and whisper something to Bradshaw. He says probably something like, Terry, we need about a yard and a half.
Maybe he said good luck.
Yeah, Terry said, thank you.
4th down and 1. Steelers trailing 30-10. 7:05, clock moving in the third quarter. To the outside, it's wide open for Franco Harris. He's inside the 15. Good move by Harris. He probably would not have got the first down had he tried to hit the hole where he was supposed to hit.
Well, it's the kind of call that it's either going to pick you up some pretty good yardage, or you're not going to make the fourth down. Ordinarily, you'd expect them to go between the tackles. That one's around in. Pretty good pressure inside there. We'll take another look at it from the end zone. You see Franco dip to the outside. That's Jake Scott, number 13, who's trying to cut him off. Franco stepped over and picked up about 4 or 5 more yards.
Again, still having trouble with our slow motion equipment. We do apologize for that. The Steelers have a 1st and 10. They're on the 12-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. There's that reverse we talked about to Frank Lewis. That fooled no one also.
Yeah, Miami had heard about it.
Charlie Babb made the stop. Well, they run out of ways to trick them, I think, Don.
Yeah, maybe so. Handoff, faked it to Franco Harris. Coming back around. That's just good, alert and defensive play. Let's take a look at it again. Fakes in there to Franco. Hands back to the outside. Coming around. Frank Lewis. Charlie Babb wasn't being fooled at all.
All right, 2nd down now and 11. Dick Anderson, by the way, is on the bench. He has leg cramps.
If I'd run as far as he has tonight, I would too.
Franco Harris. And Franco Harris works himself out about 3 or 4 yards. There's Anderson, and he is experiencing leg cramps. And as John said, he has covered a lot of yards tonight with 4 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns.
Don, the last time Pittsburgh gave up so many points was a Monday night game we did, if you remember, in Kansas City when the Chiefs beat them 38-16. That was in the early stages of Chuck Noll's coaching career. As I recollect, Kansas City scored 28 points in 1 period, with Otis Taylor having a field night.
Bradshaw, 3rd down and 6.
Got him.
Barry Pearson. Oh, and he couldn't hold on.
Boy, he really fired that ball out there, and he had him by about a step. That's all you need. He was in the end zone. Looked like to me it hit him between the 8 and the 3. Couldn't hold on to it.
Barry Pearson, he doesn't drop many. Former leading receiver in the Big Ten, as a matter of fact, 2 years in a row.
As a matter of fact, we watched Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam hit Barry Pearson for the winning touchdown against the Redskins on a Monday night game just a few weeks back.
Indeed we did. It's 4th down and 6 yards to go. The Steelers trailing 30-10, 5:17 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Steelers are going to go for it. Don't be surprised if they come right back with the same pass. Off the screen. Bradshaw firing, and
good defensive play by
Charlie Babb. Turns back the Steelers on 4th down. And listen to this crowd applaud the defensive unit.
Well, they were trying to pick up a 1st down. I don't really know whether that one was that good a call or not, because you got another 1/4 They seem to have something working. I'd have liked to have picked up a few points down there. 3 would have helped.
5 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
You know, there's a lot of football players and a lot of teams that do nice things for people, and I'd like to say hello to the Philadelphia Eagle players tonight and other volunteers who are watching, and while they're watching, they're taking telephone pledges at Veterans Stadium in the Eagles Fly for Leukemia fundraising drive. Go, Eagles, go.
I'd like to compliment the Miami Dolphins, and I hope that a youngster named George Cunningham of a local high school, schoolmate really of one of Don Shula's sons, who was paralyzed from the neck down, is watching. The Dolphin players contributed all their fine money to the rehabilitation of this young man, and Joe Robbie contributed an equal amount.
Miami now with the 1st and 10. They move from their own 8-yard line. Larry Zonka recovering his balance. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Andy Russell now back in the ball game. He was out in the first half with a pulled muscle. Here's John Kolb, and we were looking at a moment ago, and it's hard to believe, but he bench presses 550 pounds, does this man.
You've been doing your homework, Frank. I'm so proud of you.
That just impressed me. That seems like a lot of weight.
I guarantee you. 500 and something.
Second down and 10. This is Jim Kick, and the Steelers toughening up. I don't believe we ever have to worry about the Steeler team falling apart. They had some really tough breaks. You could say Miami made them if you want to do, but in the early going tonight, they had 3 interceptions against them before they knew what had happened. Down 17-0 before they hardly realized they were in the Orange Bowl. Bradshaw, who was not expected to play, came in and relieved Joe Gilliam. Not that Gilliam isn't going to be a football player, but he was 0 for 6, and he had 3 interceptions. Made sense to get him out of there. Okay, it's 3rd down and 8. Jim Kick. And the Steelers are scrapping. John Rouser moving up from his cornerback position. You see the pursuit. L.C. Greenwood over there, number 68. The Miami offense has not been what you call devastating themselves. Jim Kick, and I don't believe he's too happy with the way this year has gone. Young man used primarily in passing situations. Here's Joe Gilliam. Rough start. Youngster has a lot of confidence in himself. He'll be around a while. Larry Seifel on to do the punting for Miami. Deep is Glenn Edwards. This time Seifel really unloaded on it.
I tell you, he unloaded.
Edwards at his own 35, and he gets it back out to the 40. Great kick and super coverage. Bruce Bannon down there to make the stop. 54-yard punt. Seifel having his very best year for Miami. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this.
Laura? I know I haven't seen her.
Arrow has been making classic dress shirts for over a century.
Have you seen Laura? Sorry, old boy, I haven't seen her.
Our stripes have been colorful, but never flashy.
Laura?
No, but I'd like to be.
Laura hiding on you again?
While other styles have come and gone, Arrow has endured.
Laura? Laura? Where have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Well, I was so bored.
Let's go for a walk.
All right. Okay.
Today, in the same tradition of quality and good taste, Arrow's making casual wear, sports shirts, sweaters, designed to go beautifully with all kinds of slacks and jackets.
Look what I found.
Colorful casual wear from the Colorful Shirt Company. Arrow.
You gonna stay with Shula? Don Shula. Super coach he is. He's won 115 games now in his 11th year. Pittsburgh, 2:46 remaining in the 3rd quarter. They move 1st and 10 from their own 40, and this is Franco Harris. And that, well, you're not going to believe it, but the yardage now gained by these two teams is exactly equal. Pittsburgh has gained 135. Miami has gained 135. But that's what turnover will do, and Pittsburgh has had 5 interceptions.
I got a kick out of the little pat Morris gave to Jim Kick. I wouldn't pretend that the two love one another. They respect one another, though.
2nd down and 6. The ball is at the 44. Bradshaw dumping it out to Preston Pearson, and he took his eyes off it a little quickly. Mike Colon back there covering.
Frank, this is really too bad for Bradshaw because he couldn't have put it out there any better. Pearson just, it didn't look like to me he took his eye off it. He just dropped it. The thing went right through there. Been a first down for him, too.
He's had some tough luck. Nick Bonacani comes out of the middle linebacking position of the Miami Dolphins. Moving in there, Charlie Babb.
Five defensive
units.
Get down.
Nickel defense, if you will. Third down and 6. And this time, Barry Pearson holds on. He has the first down. He's at the 45-yard line of Miami.
I think that's the first time I've seen Bradshaw really draw back and throw one. He just drilled that one. Didn't go or didn't give any at all to his shoulder. Fired that one right down the middle. Had to be there. Well thrown ball. Picked him up first down.
Steeler quarterbacks on the night, 7 of 25, 55 yards.
Let's move it on.
Ball marked at the 46. Bradshaw going deep for Lewis. He's well covered. Anderson might get another one. He did not handle it. Dick Anderson, who has already collected 4 interceptions tonight, almost got another one.
Another interception or another cramp.
Say, that Anderson's running great routes tonight.
Indeed he is. He's been leading receiver for the Steelers. You know, Terry Bradshaw had his best night ever as a pro right here in the Orange Bowl in 1971.
Had my last one.
I worked on that game, Don. It was your last game you ever played in the what they call the runner-up bowl. You were most valuable player.
Yeah, and you didn't even vote for me.
Lost your trophy.
Yeah.
Oh, I did vote for you.
I didn't lose it. I just broke it.
Warfield, Briscoe, and Greasy on the sideline, very contented with the 30-10 lead. Bradshaw back on second down again, and down he goes. Danny Fernandez, number 75, in there to make the stop. Dumping Bradshaw for a 9-yard loss.
Boy, he fell on that shoulder that he had damaged, Bradshaw did. Seems all right, but...
Well, let's see if we can see what's happening. It looks like, well, Fernandez just beat his man awfully quick. Bradshaw didn't have a chance to throw back. Fernandez is quick.
Miami now came into this game with 39 sacks. They've got to the quarterback 4 times tonight. Pretty good. They have 43 on the year. They have Bradshaw back in trouble again. Third down and 19. You'll see their 53 defense come on. Tough to throw against. Washington Redskins will tell you that last year. In the Super Bowl, they just couldn't do anything when they worked themselves into a passing situation.
That was Fernandez out there again.
Fuqua, Johnny Fuqua. Oh, and he is ever hit by Stanfield.
Did he pick up Stanfield or did Stanfield pick up him? Goodness alive.
Poor Frenchie.
Bill Stanfield, 5 years ago, a great All-American at Georgia.
Trying to set up a screen.
Look at that.
Fernandez was the guy who's out there. He's turning back. I don't think he saw Stanfield until he tried to move on the outside. It's too late then.
That brings on Bobby Walden to do the punting. Goes back to Jake Scott at his 11. And Scott bounces around to about the 12 or 13, taking a couple licks. And Lauren Taves finally made the stop as the gun sounds. And we'll tell you, you're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. That's the end of the third quarter with the Dolphins leading the Steelers 30-10. We'll return after this word from our local stations.
Larry Wilson of the St. Louis Cardinals is making the transition from football player to football scout. But one thing hasn't changed. Much of his free time goes to the kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. He's still an active volunteer. If you've got the time, we've got people who need you. Call your local Voluntary Action Center or write Volunteer, Washington, D.C., 20013. What we need, money can't buy. We need you.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Mercury Morris is back in the game for Miami. Mercury Morris, who left the field in the second quarter, walked back on his own, and here he comes. And Mercury Morris goes down in the arms. Big number 63, Ernie Holmes, helping Mel Blunt, number 47.
Mercury Morris went down, and the very great UCLA National Championship basketball team almost went down before Maryland. Their next great test comes on ABC's Wide World of Sports, live NCAA college basketball a week from Saturday, when they go against number 2 rated North Carolina State, with David Thompson and a youngster named Burleson, who was on our Olympic team. What a game that'll be.
Right now, Miami has a 2nd down and 7. Ball at their own 15, just short of the 15. Morris again behind Bob Kuchenberg, number 67. And Rouser pushes Mercury out of bounds after a 5-yard pickup. Mercury Morris now has 939 yards on the year. Great football player.
He is all of that.
Strong. He's a weightlifter. Must have some backfield out there when he and Dwayne Thomas were going.
Chuck Noll. Tough guy, Chuck. Doesn't show his emotions readily.
All right, it'll be 3rd down and 3. 14:07 remaining in the game. Miami with a 30-10 lead.
Look out, Green!
Greasy with great pocket protection. Briscoe's wide open. Did he stay in bounds? No. Marlon Briscoe, Miami's leading receiver, but he caught it out of bounds.
Looking at Marlon Briscoe, one has to wonder what his reactions were tonight to Joe Gilliam, Frank, because as you'll remember, in 1968, Marlon started 11 games at quarterback for the Denver Broncos. He knows something about pressure, too, at the quarterback position.
Great athlete. Was leading receiver in the AFC a couple of years ago. That, of course, with Buffalo. Larry Seipel now to punt for Miami. 13:58 remaining in the game. Glenn Edwards, the deep safety man. Up close to Dennis Meyer. And this is Meyer. Meyer circling back. He goes down on the 28-yard line. Minus 12 yards. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl at Miami right after this message.
This is the Ford LTD, going through some tests that lots of automakers put their cars through. But rather than show you what expert drivers can do, Ford thinks it's more important to show you how to take a test drive. Riding on a bumpy road, undue noise could be a tip-off to inefficient suspension. And over a bump like this, you shouldn't be lifted off the seat or hit bottom either. Over a winding stretch of road, steering should be easy with a minimum of sway. Look for a car that under normal driving conditions stops in a straight line without correcting for brake pull. And at highway speeds, a well-made car will be quiet enough for normal conversation, just as I'm talking to you now. The Ford Motor Company thinks that this car can stand up to these driving tests. And your Ford dealers will be happy to let you try.
The quiet Ford. The closer you look, the better we look.
13:43 remaining in the game from the Orange Bowl in Miami, and the Dolphins exploded in the first quarter. Took a commanding 17-0 lead. They now lead 30-10. And Pittsburgh, however, playing much better football. At least they're not making the turnovers. That was the downfall of the first half. This is Franco Harris on 1st and 10 from his own 28. The big man turns the corner and goes out of bounds at the 41 for a Pittsburgh first down. That's an interesting group.
Yes, quite a group. The old Andrew, Bobby Goldsboro back with us again, and yours truly. I wonder if you'd show the folks how you do the cricket.
Doesn't look too.
Dan, do you do it?
Close. Yeah. Well, we're stretching tonight, aren't we? Really out there stretching. Let's go get them, folks.
Franco Harris moves it out to the 43. First down and 10. Preston Pearson, and Pearson gets about 4, moving over the 40-yard line to the 43-yard line. Nick Bonaconti made the stop.
Oh, I love that cricket, don't you, Frank?
You know, Bobby's a good golfer. At least he plays in all those tournaments.
He gets them all nervous by cricketing as the opponent swings.
That's what he does, his handicap. Just give me one cricket, one aside. Never tell him when the cricket's coming. It's 2nd down and 5. Ball at the 47. And Bradshaw hiding the ball beautifully. Now he's going to run, and wow.
Well, at least it was the left shoulder that time.
That was Anderson again. He seems to be everywhere. If they won't throw the ball to him, I'm going to hit you. That's what he said.
And Bradshaw picks up a couple of yards out to just about midfield.
You think here, you see he was trying to hold that defensive rush a little. Evidently he saw him coming. He's trying to direct traffic. And there comes Anderson up, and he popped him pretty good.
There you're looking at Lloyd Mumford, who, if you recall the Super Bowl of last year when Tim Foley injured his right shoulder, Mumford came in and everyone thought that they would be picking on Mumford. He played a fine football game. Foley has injured his left shoulder now, and Mumford is back as a starter again. All right, it's 3rd down and 3 from midfield. Bradshaw firing over the middle, and it's complete to Barry Pearson. 1st down, he's at Miami's 40-yard line.
Hey, Giff, I mentioned that we've got the number 1 and number 2 teams, UCLA and North Carolina State, live on ABC's Wide World of Sports a week from Saturday. We've got your old colleague from Munich, West Germany, the 20th Olympiad, back, the general manager and coach of the Seattle Supersonics for that day to do the color. And we know how you all loved him on NBA basketball a year ago. He'll be working on that game.
Bill Russell, of course, and Bill and I just went just about anywhere we wanted to go in Munich. 1st down and 10. Bradshaw scrambling for his life, and I don't know who he was intending that for. I guess in the general direction of Franco Harris. In any event, it's ruled incomplete as Bill Stanfield got in there to deck Terry Bradshaw.
I think if I were to offer some constructive criticism, I would say the kind of night that these guys have had at quarterback, he's got 2 receivers out, both of them going real deep. He's not getting really that good of protection. They've got to establish some sort of rhythm in the passing game. Send somebody out short, somebody out long. The long guy is not open, and go to the one that's short. Establish some consistency. They're not really doing that.
Well, you see the kind of night that Bradshaw, ahead of Bradshaw, Joe Gilliam had. It's 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 40 of the Miami Dolphins. 11:53 remaining in the game. The draw play to Franco Harris. Number 50, Clack with a good block, and Franco Harris gets another Steeler 1st down. And Dick Anderson was there to make the stop.
Well, that one came right up the middle. That's usually where Bonacani is. He wasn't there that time. Franco started rolling.
Andy, you said at the top of the 2nd half when I asked you what you thought Chuck Noll said to his men, that what he probably expressed to them was a desire that they play representative football. They have done that in this half, and I think that that ensures that they'll play their normal game in the 2 games remaining against Houston and San Francisco.
I would certainly agree with that, Harold. I don't think you'd expect him to play with 5 interceptions.
On 1st and 10 from the 29, and trying to get it to Barry Pearson, and you saw a typical Miami defensive unit back there. Mumford was there, 26. Scott was there, number 13. 40, Dick Anderson was there.
Well, they're coming down. Again, as you point out, they're just, there are Dolphins everywhere. You saw that whole defensive secondary. They're known for a zone or a kind of defense that goes back and covers areas, but, man, they're out there, and they're just still going deep. He's got to hit in front of them.
You know, Don, in this 2nd half, Pittsburgh has made 5 1st downs, scored a touchdown. Miami has not made a single 1st down this half.
I wonder if the offense told the defense to go out there and control the game. It's 2nd down and 10. Ball just inside the 30 of the Miami Dolphins. Franco Harris. And Harris pulls down to about the 22. He'll get 6 yards on that. Doug Swift moving over there to make the stop for Miami.
You know, James Dean can be seen in flashbacks when Dick Clark presents the rock and roll years. Join Dick with the 5th Dimension and Johnny Ray Wednesday at 8, 7 Central right here. Where are we? ABC. I can do those drop hands, Keenum.
You can do it.
Third down and a long 2. The Steelers must get to the 19-yard line, the 18.5 for a first down. Harris, he has much more than that. He'll get 6.
Yes, sir.
20-yard touchdown run, Franco Harris. And the Steelers, with 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, have considerably shortened the Dolphins' lead, which at one point was 30-3.
Just a trap block off tackle. You know, I don't know whether, well, you can always say things like that. I think it'd be a combination of good blocking, but the Dolphins seem to have been playing very conservative. I can understand their side of it, being ahead 30-3 at halftime. They're kind of coasting a little bit, and that's the worst thing a football team can do is start coasting, because we could have a good ball game even as bad as the Steelers have played so far.
Flags fly as Roy Girella drills it to the uprights. Offsides, Miami, of course, declined. 2 touchdowns away are the Steelers now. The Dolphins leading 30-17. 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the game. We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Cricket, the great disposable lighter. And now I come in 5 wild accent table lighters. They'll light month after month, then pop in a new Cricket lighter and light on. Wild Cricket by Gillette. I'm wild.
I got a date, and I can't find my razor.
Cool it. I'll give you my Track 2 razor.
2 blades? Does it really work?
Where you been? It's fabulous.
What's so fabulous?
It's simple. As the first blade shaves the whisker, it lifts it out. So the second blade can shave it again, closer. And both blades are recessed, so it's safer.
I can't believe it. It's clean, and it hardly feels like I shaved. This Track 2 is some piece of work. I mean, like, this really is a razor.
The Gillette Track 2 shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave.
Goodbye, whiskers. Hello, girls.
Oh, no.
We have a little over 10 minutes remaining in this game, and Pittsburgh has really taken over complete control. As Roy Girella gets set to kick off, Franco Harris just went 20 yards for a touchdown. The Steelers are 2 touchdowns and a conversion away. Charlie Lee bobbles the ball. He goes into the end zone. And the momentum of the ball allows him to touch it down for the touchback.
And the momentum of the game, as you have said, has changed completely for a team. And we all agreed that Pittsburgh seemed to be totally out of things in the second quarter as the score soared to 30-3. For a team that deep in the rut, they sure have held together and come back. They're playing most representatively and impressively now.
You know, it's interesting, and watching the Miami Dolphins over the past 3 or 4 years, there's always one man, Bob Greasy. When things start to get a little sticky, he comes up with a super play. We saw it against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. He has a way of getting it done. This is Mercury Morris. Morris getting out to the 22-yard line. Out there by Henry Davis.
I think you made a very effective point, Don, really, when you talked about, however unwittingly, subconsciously, the Dolphins perhaps began to coast, not taking anything away from the Pittsburgh resurgence. But this team has not had a first down, as I said, this whole half.
I bet you that the coach would like to have that field goal that he passed up when he tried to 4th down.
Second down and 8. Morris, inside handoff. Good block, Bob Kutzenberg, 67. John Rouser made the stop, and Morris will be short of the first down. Morris having a big night. He now has 944 yards on the year.
This was an enormous hole that Morris had, and yet watch the way they close this gap after he gets to it.
That was Kutzenberg. That was good help from the outside that came in there, but Kutzenberg really did have a heck of a block.
He's had a heck of a night. He's came here as a free agent. Played, couldn't make it with one team. Then I think he went up and played with the minor league team in Chicago. Came back a year ago and really turned into a super guard. It's 3rd down and 3. Jam kick. Right. All the way out to midfield, and Greasy hits kick when he needed it the most.
Big play.
I think that was the play you were talking about, Howard, because that one was thrown absolutely perfectly. Watch Bobby come back. Shifts a little bit, just out of the reach of that linebacker. And there was Jim Kick. Big first down for him.
Indeed it was, all the way out to their own 49. Clock moving, 8:04. Greasy working on that clock. Zonka gets away from one Pittsburgh Steeler, fumbles the ball. The Steelers have it. Mel Blount. Now you're going to hear some fireworks around here. Mel Blount comes up with the Zonka fumble, and Zonka never fumbles.
That's right. 2 fumbles in this game by Zonka, each recovered by the opposition. Remember 2 years ago, the year Dallas, you're watching it now, the Zonka hitting the tacklers, releasing the football.
Henry Davis in there to pull it out for the Steelers. 7:43 remaining. The Steelers are back in it, and will be back.
Leaving your lights on for over 3 hours in freezing cold, that's murder. But that's what we did with these cars. Let's see if any of them can start. One can. The one with the Sears Die Hard. The Die Hard, extra power to start your car when most batteries won't. Sold only at Sears.
The Dalton Trail in the dead of winter. A lonely, treacherous run for the Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. A tire made to handle the steep climbs and slippery curves. To stop you, even in deep snow. It's the best performing snow tire we've ever offered. Try it on your own Dalton Trail. From radial design and 2 steel belts to the multi-angle tread pattern for deep, biting traction. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Only at Sears.
Zonka is really steamed in himself. He's been pounding his helmet. We'll talk about his fumbles after this play. Gift.
Steelers first and 10 following that Zonka fumble. They move from their own 41-yard line. Franco Harris bobbles it, but it takes a Steeler bounce. Breaks into the clear. He's down to the 44-yard line. Hit by Dick Anderson. Oh, yeah. And we might have a game yet.
We might. We are watching a remarkable turnabout as Pittsburgh is playing up to its real form, not to the unfortunate conditions that produced 4 interceptions in the first quarter.
There's the fumble. Look at the bounce. I'd say things have started bouncing their way. Ha.
I was making the point before. Well, we'll wait after this play. Look at Zonk. He's still disturbed with himself. He didn't have a single fumble in the regular season 2 years ago. Did have a costly one against Dallas in the Super Bowl.
Steelers now first and 10 on Miami's 44-yard line. Bradshaw back to pass. Underthrows over the middle, intended for Barry Pearson.
He's got to hit short. Frank, every Miami defensive man, linebacker, and secondary was at least 12 yards deep, and he's got to hit in front of him. He had a guy open down there. Bonacani was the only guy that was close, coming up from the middle linebacker.
All right, Terry Bradshaw, and I mentioned that game he played here in the Orange Bowl in 1971 when he was 25 of 36 for 3 touchdowns. And remarkable comeback. He has not seen action in 5 weeks. And he's taken some real good shots tonight. On second and 10, the pitch goes to Harris. He cuts back and makes 2 or 3 on his own, getting down to the 39-yard line. He gets 6 yards out of it.
I tell you, when he's bowling through tacklers, you can't tell the difference, really, between him and Zonk. They hit in much the same way.
I was really going to just say that same thing, Howard. That's the honest truth, because they really do run like they hit, and they seem to keep falling forward and picking up that extra 2 or 3, and that really does help.
He missed a couple of games earlier this year. Like many of the Steelers, he's had one of those nagging injuries, a knee injury, I believe. So he's moved over 500 yards tonight. Now we look at Bradshaw on a 3rd down. Oh, and Harris will be short of the first down by about 3 yards. I don't believe there's any question that the Steelers will be going for it.
Well, I really couldn't figure out what a tie would do, but the thing about they need some points on that board. They got to get a little bit closer. A field goal would put them up there. Well, they need 2 touchdowns. They got to go for it.
All right, Franco Harris has carried the ball 10 times in the second half. He has 71 yards thus far. Now on 4th down, Terry Bradshaw. And if they make this first down, well, Well, we'll have a football game. We have 5:34 remaining. Good protection. Fires complete to Barry Pearson. Pearson inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Stopped by Jake Scott.
That was a beautifully executed pass. Good route by Pearson. He was working on Anderson. Went down, going fast, stopped, came back. The ball was right there when he turned. Good protection here, too. They're doubling up on Fernandez. You saw he had good protection. He stopped, came back. Anderson overran him. Finally tackled by Jake Scott. We'll take another look at it. You saw Anderson slide down. He was right with him for a while. Good move by Pearson, though.
Yeah, and we regret we can't show you that motion of Bradshaw in slow motion. Our facilities being inoperable at the moment. But now on 1st and 10, and this time he underthrows Preston Pearson. On the sidelines, a little oxygen for Franco Harris, who has had a busy second half. I just mentioned he's carried the ball 10 times, has picked up 71 yards.
That's in this half, Frank.
That's in this half.
I think he's got 105 on the game.
Tough man out of Penn State, #1 draft pick a year ago, went over 1,000 yards. Playing the team tonight that knocked Pittsburgh out of the Super Bowl from last year. Bradshaw. Again, plenty of time. Pearson's wide open touchdown.
How about this? Oh, that Barry Pearson. Is he making use of him tonight?
I kept waiting for Lloyd Mumford to come up on him. Mumford kept going back and kept going back. Pearson just came down and cut to the middle. He was open all the way.
And he threw that brilliantly.
He did for a fact. His arms loose. Now look at, if you can, watch Mumford do 26 out here. He just kept backpedaling into the end zone. Pearson cut in front of him. Touchdown.
Roy Girella. And the Steelers have really made a football game out of this in the second half. They trail now by only 6 points. 4:38 remaining in the game, and we'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this.
What's all-star outfielder Lou Brock looking for in the Yellow Pages?
Results. That's why we advertise our business here. Under Florence. 90% of our orders come by phone. To find us, people have to use the Yellow Pages. And without it, we wouldn't be doing the business we're doing. And as long as business keeps blooming, we'll keep advertising in the Yellow Pages.
Remember, 3 out of 4 prospects let their fingers do the walking. Advertise in the Yellow Pages.
The way things are now, I can't always get all the gas I want. That doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make me happy. Point is, I need all the friends I can get. So when you come in, I'll give you tips on how to get better gas mileage. Do what I can to keep your car running good, too. That way, neither one of us will use as much gas. Maybe if I treat you like a friend now, you'll remember who was good to you. So come on in. I can be very friendly.
There's almost a stunned atmosphere that has taken over here in the Orange Bowl as the Pittsburgh Steelers have battled back to within a touchdown and a conversion of leading the Miami Dolphins. The Steelers in a battle in their Central Division of the AFC with Cleveland and Cincinnati. Girella hits it. Taken by Mercury Morris, and Morris gets out to the 20. Steelers pouring downfield, sensing they're back in this game. They have a chance to win. They can extend their lead over Cincinnati and Cleveland to a full game. Can they win tonight?
Well, Miami now has a very real problem trying to get back the drive, the momentum, to use that much labored word, that was theirs in the first half. This has been a phenomenon, and yet the unpredictable has become the normal on Monday Night Football. Imagine a team trailing 30-3 to the Dolphins and then storming over so great a team as the Dolphins. Frank?
Pittsburgh, 164 yards, Miami 60 in the second half. That's the story. 1st and 10 from the 20. Zonka goes down. Whoa, he fights through one tackler. Browser, but he loses 3 yards.
I tell you, I think Miami is playing with its eye almost completely on the clock at this point, and if they can't make a first down on this series, they're in trouble. The Steelers have time. Don, what would you do as quarterback if you were running the Dolphins now?
Well, before I comment, I'm saying I think the stunned atmosphere that Frank mentioned to, alluded to, is definitely in that offensive huddle right now. I don't think they can believe it. Bob's got to have a first down. He's in trouble right now because it's 2nd down and long. He's got a lot of help. I'd go ahead and put it up in the air.
He has a second down and 14. Both wide receivers brought to the left. He goes with the draw play to Morris, and he'll be buried at the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit. John Rouser was there. Jack Ham hustling over. Edwards coming up.
Not only that, Mercury went out of bounds to stop the clock, which was the very thing Miami didn't want to do.
This will be an interesting play to see what he calls. He's playing in kick, which is, as we've mentioned earlier, usually that's when he's going to pass. It's third down, about 11. Now, if they wanted to go for a conservative style, obviously they'd run a draw or a sweep or a trap, maybe a screen or something like that, and rely on that defense. But the defense has given up 24 points or 21 points this second half. I think he'll throw.
All right, the last time he went to Jim, kicked on a circle pattern. He got 23 yards out of it. The Steelers in their defensive prevent unit. James Thomas, 24, the 5th defensive back end. Gracie fires. That'll be incomplete, and Pittsburgh will get the ball. Oh, boy. Intended out there.
Well, I'm telling you that Gracie was really hit hard.
Oh, boy. Dwight White and Joe Green.
That's right. Got East Texas State and North Texas State after him at the same time, and, man, he was in trouble.
Well, I hope you all didn't go away at home because we really have a football game. It means so much to these Pittsburgh Steelers. It really does. Cincinnati and Cleveland, I'm sure, must be watching. They were relaxed probably early in the game. But the Steelers, if they can win this game tonight, they can do it with a touchdown and conversion. We'll have a full game lead over Cincinnati and Cleveland. Seipel to the punting. High kick. Dennis Meyer, no fair catch, and he gets back to the 44-yard line. Good field position.
If you were in Pittsburgh right now, we wouldn't be able to hear a thing. I could hear those Pittsburgh fans, and, man, do they support the Steelers. You're getting a little action out of the Miami fans right now saying, come on, defense, because Pittsburgh's 55 yards away from pay dirt.
Indeed they are. Big game coming up New Year's Day, the Sugar Bowl. John McMakin, the tight end, as a matter of fact, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 89, has a brother that plays for Alabama. And, of course, it's going to be Alabama and Notre Dame. That should be a beauty. 1st and 10, the Steelers. Bradshaw, and almost picked off by Jake Scott. Wow, and Chuck Knoll showing a little bit of emotion, at least for Chuck Knoll.
Jake made a great pickup, tried to cover it, looked quickly at the official to see if he had ascertained that it was a pickup, and the official had.
Still got over 3 minutes. Again, I'd say don't force that thing. Don't try to go deep. Don't try to score from out here. Move that thing down the field. Hit some short ones, go turn ins, run a couple of screens, maybe a draw. Move it down the field. You still got time, plenty of time to get that ball down there and score.
All right, the tight end, Larry Brown, moves out to the top of your screen, 87, both wide receivers to the right. Pearson gets open but can't hold on. Hit there by Bob Matheson.
Well, Pearson made a good move to come back for it. The ball was a little bit low. Again, Pearson went down about 12 or 13 yards, had a first down, saw the linebackers in front of him, came back to try to meet the ball, which is what receivers are supposed to do. The ball was just thrown a little bit low. Big play, 3rd down and 10. They got to have 10 yards. So you can't run a little flare right now. You can't run a shoot. You got to get at least 10 yards, or you would like to get 10 yards.
Chuck Knoll in the corner of your screen. You saw Johnny Fuqua come into the huddle, number 33. Quick word with Terry Bradshaw. Big play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd down and 10. The ball at the 44. Bradshaw with a lot of pressure. Fernandez is in there. Firing across the field to Fuqua. Great defensive recovery, and the man who got up there was Dick Anderson. What a night Dick Anderson has had. All right, you have 2:45, clock moving. It's 4th down.
He didn't pick up much, so they got to go for it again.
Well, do you have to go for it? The clock will be stopped at the 2-minute warning. No, they will not. They'll punt. Might be a wise decision.
Oh, they're not going to go for it. He's going to punt it, put the pressure on that defense to hold them one more time.
They have their 3 timeouts. The clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. Bobby Walden comes in to punt. And will they... Oh, it goes out of bounds on the 2-yard line.
What a kick.
That stops the clock.
It was a good play by number 51 for those Steelers. He knocked that ball out of bounds. That's Taves, Lauren Taves. Looked like to me, was it Taves?
Taves, indeed it was, as he's been on almost every play of the special teams tonight.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah. 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so the Dolphins will have one play, and then the clock will be stopped with the 2-minute warning. The Steelers have their 3 timeouts remaining, and you better believe they'll be coming out of the ground.
And boy, that defense knows what they got to do, and I'll guarantee there's not too many defenses around that can do it any better than this one right there you're looking at.
The people in Pittsburgh, you're right, got to be proud of their coach and their team tonight.
And their owner, Art Rooney, one of the great people in football.
That's correct.
From their own 2-yard line, call it the 1.5-yard mark. And trying to get out where they can operate a little bit. Jim kick. It's about 1.5 yards. And now the clock is stopped with the 2-minute warning as you see Jake Scott conferring with Don Shula on the sidelines. The Dolphins looking for a 2-season winning record of their own tonight. We'll be back.
You will? Okay, I'll pick you up. I don't believe it!
When you get a date with Cleopatra, you better have a special chariot. Ford Grand Torino Brougham, restyled for '74 with split bench seats, deep cut pile carpeting, and a gleaming new front end. This Torino's got spirit, looks, and it's built solid. What more could you want?
You've got a solid car. Ford Torino is a solid car. Right down the road in style, smooth and quiet by the mile.
The solid mid-size Ford Torino at your Ford dealers. The closer you look, the better we look.
Strange things happen on Monday Night Football. It was 30-3 Dolphins at halftime. The score now, the Dolphins 30, the Steelers 24. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Dolphins have the ball at their own 3-yard line. They have a 2nd down and 8. They have done nothing offensively here in the second half. The Steelers have dominated. Chuck Noll, the coach of the Steelers, in the corner, looking on. Bob Greasy trying to get the Dolphins their 25th win in 2 seasons. Gives the ball to Jim Kick, and he might have got a couple of yards. Dwight White, who they say is meaner than Joe Green, is underneath the pile. And the Steelers use one of their timeouts. Clock showing 1:53. Gives us a chance to tell you that Alan King and his guests, Milton Berle, George Burns, Godfrey Cambridge, Toady Fields, and Danny Thomas, are some of the stars you're going to see on The Many Faces of Comedy tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, and of course right here on ABC, where we have had some kind of excitement here in the 4th quarter. Again, to remind you the importance of this game for the Steelers. Next week, Cincinnati and Cleveland will meet. The Steelers will play Houston. The Steelers then go on to play San Francisco, and Cleveland goes on to play Los Angeles, and then Cincinnati goes on to play Houston. Should the Steelers lose tonight, it's going to be a 3-way tie in the AFC Central Division. I wonder what Art Modell is doing right at this moment, Howard. Sitting there with Patty, jumping up and down. Paul Brown, of course, probably very cool as he watches.
Well, what was it in that Shakespearean sonnet? I look upon myself and curse my fate. Maybe that's what Art Modell is doing at the moment.
It was, oh,
I don't think Art uses that.
Little Shakespeare around midnight, never hurt anybody.
All right, it's 3rd down and 5. The Steelers have 2 timeouts remaining. Chuck Noll, the coach of the Steelers, inserted in the corner. Not nearly so cool as he looks. Zonka, and he is close to 1st down. Larry Zonka. Referee's timeout as they unpile.
He had to go to about the 11.
officials timeout as they untangle the ball players, look it over. Chuck Noll watching. The special unit team has already moved on to the field for the Steelers. Now they move out, and here come the yardsticks. What an important measurement this is going to be.
I think he missed by an inch.
2. That much. That much. And it could be.
They're going to go
the Dolphins will go for it. Keep in mind, now they've clinched their division. They have 1:44 remaining.
I like this kind of style. Now, here it is. This is really a good play. Now, you got an inch to go, a couple inches to go. And I would imagine the way Shula's looking at it, he says, if my offensive team cannot make 2 inches, then by golly, they don't deserve to win.
You know, he went for it in the Thanksgiving Day game against Dallas. Didn't make it. Admitted in the post-game interview that perhaps he had made a mistake, yet he's got the courage to try it again. Gift?
This capacity crowd or near capacity crowd on their feet on 4th down. Will it be the big man Zonka? And I believe they might have taken too much time. Boy, if you did, you're going to hear some kind of booing here in the Orange Bowl.
Now then you got a punt.
Yeah, there's no question now.
Well, there seems to be one because I don't see any punters coming on the field.
That's it. Shula, I think just disgusted, said go for it anyway. There it is, delay of the game.
Well, now, I don't understand that.
No, I don't either.
Well, how about that?
All right. And just a little over 5 yards is needed by the Miami Dolphins. And, boy, if they miss it down here, Pittsburgh is going to have the ball.
I don't understand.
Inside the 10. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't understand.
I don't think Paul Brown gets it, or Nick Skorich gets it either.
Well, this is really funny looking.
All right, let's watch it. 4th down, a little over 5. Greasy's going to take the safety.
There it is, a safety. Sure.
Shula's ahead of us all.
Yeah, he is. That's why he's there.
Shula's ahead of us all.
That's it. Why didn't I think of that?
And now the score, the Steelers
didn't want to run a
26, the Dolphins 30. And still, the Dolphins will have to turn the ball over to the Steelers.
Yeah, but
they'll kick from their 20.
That's right, a free kick, too.
Oh, that's clever.
We can't, there's no operator.
A minute and 4 seconds remaining. The Steelers have 2 timeouts. A lot of football can be played in a minute and 4 seconds. And the only offensive showing we've seen in the entire second half has been by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I tell you, it's Monday night, Giff.
Steelers have gained 168 yards this half. The Dolphins 64.
Strangest things happen. I guess Paul Brown and Nick Skorich knew exactly what Don was doing. Shula, I mean.
Right now, the Steelers have scored 23 points in this half to the Dolphins none. All right, Seipel to do the punting. Boy, and he hit a beauty. Edwards bobbles the ball. He's going to run it out. And Edwards out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Jim Mandich driving him out of bounds. That was a 72-yard punt. I mentioned that Larry Seipel was having his best year ever, and he really came through then. 54 seconds.
He likes to play against Pittsburgh. It was Larry Seipel who turned the tide in the playoffs last year. When on a 4th down punt situation, he carried the ball deep downfield and set up a Miami scoring drive.
Well, if you needed anything to trump in on that strategy, that 72-yard punt sure did help.
Oh, boy. Shula sure comes out of this a hero.
54 seconds remaining in the game. The Steelers have 2 timeouts. Terry Bradshaw, who has brought this team around after replacing Joe Gilliam in the first quarter. Going from his own end zone. Firing to Franco Harris. Harris out close to the first down. 9-yard gain. You'll see the Steelers probably going without a huddle. There's Larry Seipel. Great time to hit 172 yards. No, the Steelers did not call 2 plays in the huddle. They went for a timeout. They have 1 remaining, and we'll be back in the Orange Bowl after this.
What has Sheraton done for you lately?
Sheraton has added on hundreds of new rooms for you. 147 luxurious rooms and suites in Boston and 300 beautiful rooms at Los Angeles Airport. To confirm a reservation at any Sheraton in the world, call 800-325-3535.
That's what Sheraton does for you now.
You know, this is the part of my job I hate. I gotta call this guy and tell him he needs a ring job. It's about $200. This is a Fram oil filter. It's about $4. If that guy had put $4 into one of these when he had his oil changed, chances are he wouldn't be putting $200 into a set of these. Well, the choice is yours. You can pay me now or pay me later.
1st and 10 for the Steelers. They have 1 timeout remaining. They have 43 seconds to work with. The score, 30-26. Oh, and Barry Pearson could not hold on. Out to the 39. Chuck Noll, framed, right-hand corner of your screen, looking on. He's watched a great turnabout by this Steeler team. 1 timeout remaining. 36 seconds remaining in the game. Don Shula with a fine piece of strategy. Taking the safety, giving his punter, Larry Seipel, time to punt the ball. And did it ever reflect? Seipel booting it 72 yards and then bobbled by Edwards. Put the Steelers in a hole from which it's going to be very difficult to recover. All right, it's 2nd down and 10. Bradshaw back. And he gets hit and unloads it to Larry Brown, who does not hold on. Twice now, Bradshaw has stood there very coolly, delivered the ball, got hit, and receivers have not held on.
Well, that doesn't really need much coverage on top of it. Brown, of course, feels worse than anybody about it because it did hit him right there in the arms. I don't think he'd have been able to get out of bounds and stop the clock, so they'd have probably had to use up their last time out.
30 seconds remaining, 3rd down. Again, 1 timeout. Barry Pearson, and he's hit hard. Jake Scott intercepts. Scott returning it to the 25 as the clock ticks down to 18 seconds. 16-yard return.